The basement, where nerdiness thrives, and grown men rant about toys.
Alright, we are here, basement dwellers.
Welcome, fresh from the basement, and honestly, this is becoming like the top show, the top list show. But I'm gonna throw you for a loop now. We're doing top 7 worst sequels.
Top
Bet you didn't see that one
7.
coming.
Top 7. Yeah, like, I did notice that, like, we're just doing, like, top lists, and then, like, at the same time, we had said, let's not do many top lists, but...
They're fun to do.
They are, man, they are, and it helps the people sort of get to know us, and it brings up different, ways of conversation and all that.
Yeah, it creates good conversation, but you came up with the worst sequels idea because we've been doing a lot of best lists, so now it's time to just dig into the shit.
Yeah, we gotta talk some major shit about something.
It's time to vent about some of the worst sequels we've ever seen.
Yeah, and so how did you base your list this time?
I just tried to think of, like, sequels to movies I liked already.
Yeah.
Well, not even that. I was just thinking about sequels that either just didn't do it for me, or I just remember being really bad. I don't know, it's hard, like, you just know a bad sequel when you see one.
Yeah.
Like, the first one on my list isn't, like, that bad, but it was never really my thing. But then as we get down the list, it's like, this is just fucking dog shit.
Yeah, that's basically how I did mine. Mine's like, movies where I love the first one, and then the second one was either a major disappointment or just complete garbage. And yeah, like at the very bottom of my list, it's nothing too major, but the higher we get, like, the more pissed off I get. Like the last 3 just really piss me off, and so we'll see it when we get there. And I guess we'll start with you, man, since we started with me last time.
Yeah, I was about to say that. So, my number 7, like I said, I don't really hate this movie. Like, it has some good moments, but Men in Black 2, it just didn't compare to the first movie. Like, the first movie is great. It was like Ghostbusters for the 90s, pretty much, but with aliens.
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
it was one of, like, the big vehicles for Will Smith. And it ends on a pretty good note for a sequel that they just didn't, like, they just put focus in the wrong place. I haven't seen these movies in a while, but I remember the first Men in Black ended with Tommy Lee Jones retiring and Will Smith and the girl going off and becoming the next team.
Yeah, yeah. And where's the girl in the freaking Men in Black 2? Was she even in there?
I think they, like, mentioned her. They, like, did, like, some cheap shot where it's just like, oh, well, she, like, couldn't stick around or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it had to do with the actress, but you could have done, like, a great story where now it's Will Smith. Like, in the first movie, he was the rookie, but now he's the leader.
Yeah.
And they sort of do that at the beginning with him and Patrick Warburton, but then they just cop out and they're like, let's get Tommy Lee Jones back.
Yeah, like, that was the most aggravating thing to me, was bringing Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah, they were great together, but to me, to make it work, it should have been, if they're not going to have the lady from the first movie, keep Patrick Warburton, because he's fun to freaking watch. He could have really, really damn been funny as hell in this movie.
Yeah, that's why I was saying it had some good moments, because Patrick Warburton is, like, funny, even in bad things. I always find Patrick Warburton funny. And he did do good in Men in Black 2. And then there was that scene with, I think the alien's name was Jeff, that giant worm in the sewer. Like, that was fun.
Yeah.
But then as the movie goes on, it's just not... Like, I guess it has to do with the villains, too, because Johnny Knoxville and Lara Flynn Boyle, like, don't even compare to Vincent D'Onofrio in the first movie.
Yeah. And
Like, Private Pyle did fucking great as the bug alien. Like, he freaked me out. Like, Lara Flynn Boyle, although she was drop-dead gorgeous in it, that's really all she was there to do, is be weird yet hot at the same time.
now, here's a question. Is that the same Flynn Boyle from Twin Peaks?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks is amazing, dude. Definitely Netflix it.
All I know is that she reminds me, just by her look, she reminds me of the wife from the Venture Bros.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And Johnny Knoxville, I like him, but I don't know. Like, this was 2002, so it wasn't like Jackass. Like, it was still going, right? So
Yeah, it was like at its major peak on MTV at that point. Like, I don't know if...
so they were just there to get that crowd in.
Yeah, and I'm a major Jackass fan. I love that whole crew, and I was just happy to see Knoxville in a movie at that time. But to me, it's like they really didn't do anything with him.
Yeah, I think Men in Black 3 did much better.
Now, I didn't see that, because at the point, like, because here's another problem, right? Men in Black 2 just, they took way too long to make it, right? And then the gap between 2 and 3, at that point, I was like, really? Like, we're going here now, huh?
Yeah, but at least it tried to do something different. Like, one...
Yeah, with the time travel and
Tommy
stuff.
Lee Jones with a young Tommy Lee Jones, which is Josh Brolin, which was, like, perfect casting.
I gotta check it out.
The villain was much better. It just had a better concept. Like, it definitely wasn't as good as the first Men in Black. The first Men in Black is just a piece of 90s pop culture.
Yeah, and like it started that major, Will Smith has to do a song for all of his movies now.
Yeah, like, it worked for Men in Black, but then when you get to Wild Wild West, it's like... I like that song. Like, it's a guilty pleasure song, but there was really no reason, like, to have a rap song.
Yeah, like, dude, wouldn't it be awesome? Wouldn't it be awesome if he had done a song for, like, every movie he's ever done? Like, yo, 7 pounds.
After Earth. Woo! Ha 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 ha! Me and my son go on planet. It's fucking boring as shit. Oh, wait, he wouldn't curse.
Oh, my God. That would be...
I was joking about that when I saw Suicide Squad. I'm like, how could... Like, they use a lot of rap songs in it. How come in the end credits he didn't just get on the mic like, whoo! Ha ha! Suicide Squad. What?
What? I mean, seriously.
But yeah, Men in Black 2, I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. It's just there.
I do love the Michael Jackson being an alien bit.
Yeah, that was fun. You can call me Agent M.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I like that.
That makes too much sense.
Like, that was pretty awesome.
But yeah, the rest of it was like... But apparently Men in Black was based on a comic book, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, that's what kind of tripped me out. Did you ever see the cartoon?
I remember the cartoon when I was little. I never watched it, though, because
I didn't get into it all that much.
Yeah, I think it was just there to be there.
But shit.
Yeah, what is your number 7?
My number 7 is, this movie is bad, and I love the first one. And at this point, this movie isn't even worth complaining about anymore because the true sequel kind of wrote it out of existence. So my number 7 is Dumb and Dumberer.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that when you said the true sequel got rid. I couldn't sit through that movie. I found it on TV once. I'm like, why is, like, you don't have Jim Carrey. You don't have the original 2, so what's the point?
You don't even have the Farrelly brothers. And, dude, this movie, alright, I am incredibly nostalgic for the first Dumb and Dumber because I was like 8 when it came out. And, shit, dude, my brother was like 6. And my dad took us to go see it. And we laughed so hard. And then we went and watched it again, and then we watched it again, and then we took our mom to go see it and watched it again. We watched it so many times in the movie theater, dude, and then we rented it so many times on video, and to me it was just one of those perfect, really goofy freaking comedies, man. And
like, it did slapstick well.
yeah, and it wasn't too over the top. Like, everything was like at the perfect level. Like, they weren't incredibly stupid, they were just dumb, and they each had their own personality of how dumb they were. You could arguably say Jim Carrey was dumber, while Jeff Daniels was a little smarter, but like, he's dumber in many different ways. Like, they really balanced each other out, and it was
they did a shit joke that actually worked. Usually shit jokes make me roll my eyes, but that is one of the great shit jokes of film.
Yeah, because I mean, even like the funnier moment is the fact that the toilet doesn't work. Like, everybody's been in that situation before. Sometime in your life you're going to be in that situation, and it was so funny to see that on screen. And so I remember so much talk about the prequel, and there was talk about Matt Stone and Trey Parker doing one.
That could have worked. That might have been interesting to see, because Matt Parker and Trey Stone.
Like, there was even talk of
Matt Parker. I don't know. I just forgot how their names go, but
yeah,
they're geniuses. They would have done it well.
Yeah, they would have made it pretty cool, and supposedly they were gonna be in the stars of the movie too, but at the same time, it's like, I'm kind of glad they didn't, because they're the kind of dudes who want to like do their own thing and not really do anything based on someone else's property. So I understand that. But when
yeah, they're more used to making fun of other people's properties.
Yeah, and so when the movie came out, man, and we saw it, I was like, this is complete dog shit. Like, you can already, like, I'm gonna have to say, the guy that was playing Jim Carrey's character, holy crap, did that dude like do a spot on impression. And
but that's the thing with impressions, it's still not the same.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just so not funny. Like, not a single... Okay, I think the only thing in that movie that did make me laugh was when they had this little tape recorder, and they were like, wow, she speaks really good Chinese. And he's like, that's not Chinese. And he fast forwards it, so you hear that chipmunk kind of voice, and he's like, that's Chinese. Like, that made me laugh. But so my biggest problem with this movie is the makers did not give a fuck.
But I mean, even if you were making the movie, would you really? You'd be like, I think they already knew it was going to be shit going in.
Yeah, but like, check this out, man. The movie takes place in 1986. And you have modern Pepsi machines in this movie. And as soon as the movie began, I knew instantly, this is garbage. Because it takes place in 1986, and Lloyd is dancing around in the school while playing Vanilla Ice, Ice, Ice Baby, which didn't come out for like another 4 or 5 years later.
Vanilla Ice is like 90s poster boy. Like, nowhere near 80s.
Seriously, dude, like, that song did not come out until like 1990.
When did this movie come out? Because like a lot of like comedies.
This movie was like, I think it was 2002 or 2003.
Yeah, then it makes sense that they were using Ice Ice Baby, because a lot of early 2000s comedies thought that was like, just putting that song in there would make it funny or something like that.
But not when your movie takes place in 1986. Like, oh my god, dude.
You could have just put on Loverboy or something.
Like, that's one of my problems that I had with the Freak Show American Horror Story was them playing those songs that didn't exist yet. But that's something we should do, man. Fucking American Horror Story podcast.
I need to catch up on it because I like it's like the equivalent of like skimming through a book. I never really watched it in full. I just sort of like some episodes caught my attention, some didn't.
Yeah.
It was never really I'm sure if I actually got into it, it would be my thing, but
it is a chore, man. It is a chore.
Yeah, it's daunting to go like, all right, new series, here we go, and then just sit down and rot your brain. Even
Seriously.
though I've been going through, I've been trying to binge watch Samurai Jack before the new series comes out.
Man, that show was so good, dude.
Oh my god, it's one. I said Billy and Mandy is my favorite Cartoon Network show growing up, but now watching Samurai Jack, I'm like, this is just the best Cartoon Network show. This is just one of the best cartoons in general.
It's so beautiful to look at, man.
Yeah, it's such a good art style. But what you were talking about before with like impersonations and stuff like that, it reminds me of another Farley Brothers movie. They did the Three Stooges movie.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
When I watched it, because I'm a huge Three Stooges fan, I didn't hate it as much as everyone else did, because I saw, like, it's more of a love letter or homage to the older show, while putting it in modern day. But the thing is, it's just, it's impersonators, so it's just not the same, which is funny, because I heard they originally wanted Jim Carrey to play Mo.
Yeah.
Would have been pretty interesting to see, actually.
Yeah, that almost happened.
Would have pulled it off.
That almost happened. But yeah, Dumb and Dumber, not worth complaining about in today's world. And I know a lot of people didn't like that Dumb and Dumber 2, and I like it, but it's not as good as the first one. It was just fun seeing them again. But yeah, there was a lot of good shit in that movie. But
I just like the title, Dumb and Dumber 2, but it's 2 like we're going to here, but it never answers where they're going to. Usually when there's a 2, they do the TOO.
Yeah.
Like Dumb and Dumber 2, but they're just like Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber 2 blank.
Yeah, to wherever you want them to go.
Which happens to be a TED Talks knockoff.
But yeah, this is funny now because Dumb and Dumber was a prequel, and my number 6 spot is also a prequel.
Uh-oh.
I think we all know what's coming.
Uh-oh.
Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. I know a lot of people would have expected me to do The Phantom Menace because that's like the poster boy prequel, like the one that everyone likes to shit on, but you know what? Although Phantom Menace is a bad movie, there are still moments in it that remind me of classic Star Wars.
Yeah, there's moments throughout all of them that remind me, but I'm not
It comes so close to catching that feeling. Like, I admire Lucas for trying to do something new, but the thing is, he didn't know how to balance old and new.
Yeah, it's just, I'm not a big fan of all 3 of the prequel movies, but at the same time, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan to begin with. Like, I love Star Wars, but to me it's not sacred to where I'm like, I have sat around with my buddies many times and been like, this is how the prequel should have been and it would have been great. But at the same time,
I did it on my channel. I did a whole 3-part series. Took a lot of time out, but I came straight out. I'm like, I'm not trying to be better than George Lucas. Like, I respect what he tried to do. It's just how he did it.
Yeah,
He's a good idea man. It's just execution isn't his thing, which I'm probably pissing off my brother now if he's watching because he is a huge Star Wars nerd. Like what you probably just said, you never found it sacred. Like this is his Bible pretty much, and he will defend the prequels till the day he dies as brilliant movies. Like he fully admits, like yeah, they're not going to capture the same magic as the originals because the originals were the cultural phenomenon, but he still finds them good movies. I'm not gonna lie, some of his arguments he does make good points, but I don't know, I just sort of grew out of them. And I don't know, Phantom Menace might be my favorite, air quotes, favorite of the prequels, because it's the one that bothers me least. Like, everyone says episode 3 is the best one, and I'm like, I guess, but like, I totally rage quit by the end of episode 3 every time I watch it now, when Padme starts crying in front of Anakin. Like, I just rip my hair out of my head, because the shit she's saying is so stupid.
Everything they were saying in those movies was pretty damn stupid.
But the reason why episode 2 is on my list is because even if you like it, you have to admit it's the most forgettable Star Wars movie.
It is, man.
It's so fucking boring.
It's the only one that I really remember nothing about. I remember he loses his hand. Oh, and the Yoda shit.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool when I first saw it.
At the time it was cool because it's like, wow, with the advent of CG technology, look what we can do. But now when you take a step back, you're like, why? Yoda should not be doing this. Yoda is more of a spiritual warrior, not an actual lightsaber wielding badass. Because it's like, why does he need that cane then?
Yeah.
He just jump around.
Seriously, like, you can just look at him and imagine that he was a badass saber fighter, you know, hundreds of years before.
Alone, he explains it in episode 5. He's like, not this crude matter. All I need is the Force.
Seriously. I mean, it looked cool when I was a young teenager, but a big problem I have with these movies is just the overabundance of CGI.
Yeah, the one that did it most. Here's the thing that leaves it memorable for all the wrong reasons is I'll remember this movie because Anakin kills women and children with the Sand People, and that he doesn't like sand.
I don't
and
like
I feel
sand.
bad because this movie has the great Christopher Lee in it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I like the character Count Dooku. I felt like George Lucas didn't do much with him.
At all,
and I like
dude.
the dude who plays Jango Fett. I think Tamara Morrison was a cool, like, again, if he did something more with him.
Yeah, and he was completely wasted, just like the original Boba Fett, like...
Alright, then in that case it's kind of genius, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's just... I forgot what I was going to say.
And then his son sees his helmet and it's like, oh yes, you know what he's about to do? Absolutely nothing.
You sound like James Hetfield there. Nothing. I'm trying to remember what I was going to say because this movie's so fucking forgettable. I don't know. It's just the focus on the romance was cheesy. The only thing I really kind of respect the movie for is when they go to the moisture farm with Owen and Beru. They actually went back to the same location they filmed in A New Hope, so it wasn't on a green screen. So that was cool, but
okay.
I don't know. It was just a special effects reel, really.
It was boring. Oh my.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have been boring because you have such like cool things in theory going on, like a million Jedi fighting and stuff like that. But then when you have a million lightsabers going off at once, like, it's blinding. Like
when Ben Kenobi mentions the Clone Wars and the original, your imagination fucking runs wild, man. And then when you find out what the Clone Wars were,
that's another thing. One, that the clones and droids, they're both disposable armies.
Yeah.
So there's really no drama. Nobody's losing anything important. But the second thing is, it's pretty much a giant game of Clue for the Jedi in terms of Obi-Wan. And by the end of the movie, it's clear that there's a conspiracy. And what did the Jedi do? Fuck it. They just play right into its hands.
Yeah.
They're like, we didn't order these clones. Like, we don't know who did this. Something shady's going on. Oh, fuck it, let's use them, see what happens.
Yes, good. Good.
Yeah, that's the thing. The one thing that sort of redeems episode 3 is that Ian McDiarmid as the Emperor is fucking awesome.
Yeah, he was pretty rad.
He's like the best character in that movie. It's a thing, there's so much like potential, and that's why the worst movies I find are the ones that had potential. And fucking...
And they just squander
Samuel
it.
Jackson could have been cooler. Like, Mace Windu already seems like a badass character. I just wish we got to know him more. Other than
they
the fact
did
that
nothing
he's
with
a
him
Jedi and has a
either.
purple lightsaber. Like, if we actually had more character development with him, He would have been fucking sick. Fucking Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan was perfect casting.
Yeah, it really was. To me, Ewan McGregor looked better as Obi-Wan as the movies progressed, because I thought he looked pretty stupid in the fucking Phantom Menace.
Well, yeah, but that's because he was young. But then by the end, you saw him go in full Ben mode.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm open to the prospect that if we're doing these spin-off movies, like everyone kind of wants to see him come back in a Kenobi movie. And
Yeah, that would be rad.
With all this prosthetic technology, or even, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the CG Tarkin in Rogue One, but you can honestly do some shit to Ewan McGregor's face to kind of make him bridge the gap between Alec Guinness and himself.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for Hayden Christensen, too, because he sort of gets the shit end of the stick when it's really not his fault.
Yeah, it's crazy. Both Anakins, their career just went nowhere after Star Wars.
Hayden Christensen's starting to make a comeback in recent years. I've been seeing him pop up in movies. Like, he went into hiding for a little bit, but now he's doing more side roles in movies, and there's the prospect that he may return as a Force Ghost in Episode 8, which I'm not necessarily against. He deserves a second chance.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, because when you see Hayden Christensen, he's good with facial expressions. When he does those angry faces, I'm like, yeah, that's Darth Vader.
Yeah, the angry faces were also at the same time, they looked so funny to me.
Well, yeah, because then he started doing the pouty lip.
Yeah.
But with his eyes, I could see Darth Vader, but then when he actually starts I killed them all. They're like animals. And I slaughtered them like animals. I'm like, oh, okay. It's his voice that gets grating.
Oh, God.
It's like, if you're going to kill him, but don't whine about it later. It's like George wanted us to still consider him a good guy, but it's like, I'm sorry, once he kills women and children, sand people or not, he's evil.
Yeah.
He should have saved it for Episode 3 then, if he really wanted us to feel for... If he really wanted us to feel for Anakin, he should have been a straight-on good guy in the second movie, the first and second movie, and maybe hint at the evilness in the second movie, and then go full-on evil in third. But when he turns to the dark side in Episode 3, it's like, due to all that shit in Episode 2, it's not a big surprise.
Yeah, we needed him and Ben Kenobi, being buddies. We needed them to be friends.
And that's the thing. In these movies, they only talk about cool moments they
have
together.
It's like, hey, you remember? This is like that one time we had a year ago. Oh yeah. You remember that? I don't remember that.
And even then, in the second movie, it's just like, that reminds me when you fell into that nest of Gandarks, and then Anakin still has to be a piece of shit. It's like, no, you fell in there, and I had to rescue you.
I mean, really, dude, if we'd have seen it happen, that would have been great. That would have been like buddies, just breaking each other's balls.
Could have done a buddy cop movie, but they're Jedi.
Yeah, dude, that would have been rad.
That's the thing. I know Jedi aren't supposed to love, but they could at least have charisma.
Yeah.
Especially when you have fucking Samuel L. Jackson, one of the kings of cool. He could have been a fucking rad Jedi. I'm not saying he had to be Jules Winfield with a lightsaber cursing all over the place, but he at least could have had some swagger to him.
Yeah, seriously, man. Oh my God. It's so sad that, these movies,
Oh, this is what I was going to say. I can't really blame George Lucas for Episode 2, at least, because I was watching the behind the scenes, and, I get the feeling he was sort of rushed. It's not only him, it's the production he was working with. There's a clip of him, looking through, the workshop, and he's like, oh, they're already building sets, help me. I gotta finish this script soon. I'm like, how are you building sets before the script is done? It's like, what? And then when he comes out, he's like, he admits, the first draft of the script was pretty rushed. He's like, I cheated a little bit. There's a lot of they fight. And it's like, you should have, told your company, I know films are a business, but you could have been like, wait, guys, I don't feel like this is 100% yet. Could I please just have more time?
And, he could have written them in between the 15 or so years.
And he says he did, but it's like, again, going back to Clerks the animated series, like, don't you know you just wrote it over a weekend? When
There,
you said you had
there are
the
just
whole
so
time?
many. There are just too many pieces of footage showing him write it on the fly that completely contradict what he was saying.
Yeah, he walks in, he's like, now all I have to do is think of an idea.
Yeah, like
It's
I
like, if you
mean,
were thinking about this instead of fucking with the older movies, doing the special editions, you should have been thinking about, like, the prequels.
for real.
Like, it's clear that he had no idea of the whole Anakin thing when he made A New Hope.
Yeah, I mean
Like,
that's
it's clear
obvious.
Darth Vader was really just a guy named Darth Vader.
Yeah, like it feels like when they were writing the script for the second one, they came up with the idea of, oh, wouldn't it be cool if he was his dad? Wouldn't that just fuck with people so much?
And it was a good idea, but then it's like, it's a good idea, but after, like, Return of the Jedi, if you were, like, right there, if you were planning on picking, because the prequels, yes, he had the idea for making prequels in his head, but he didn't have the story idea planned.
Yeah,
He just knew he was going to make a story about a young Darth Vader.
yeah,
But he should have thought about it a little more. But again, it's Star Wars, you know, I'll shit on them, but I still respect the fact that they exist at all. Because there was a good video that pointed it out, like top 5 good things about the prequels, and the number 1 spot was, like, the fact that they exist at all, because even if you don't like them, the fact that we're talking about it and debating about it to this day means that Star Wars still holds the same relevancy as it did in 1977.
yeah, and that's always a good thing.
So it's like, whether you like it or hate it, you know. Like, when I critique the prequels, it's not because, like, I hate Star Wars or the argument that I'm not a true Star Wars fan. Like, on the contrary, I'd say it's because I love this franchise so much that I could see something greater on the horizon, that, like, I have faith in these people who create it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this could be a whole podcast on Star Wars. So what is your number 6?
My number 6 is a movie that is a classic horror movie that definitely did not need a sequel 20 years or so more later. It's The Rage Carrie 2.
I expected this to come up somewhere.
This... God. Go ahead.
I'll admit to you, I need to catch up on some of my horror stuff, because I love horror, but I've actually never seen Carrie or The Rage Carrie 2. I know what it's about, and I know, I've seen pictures, and just alone, Sissy Spacek's eyes creep me the fuck out.
Yeah, like, the original Carrie is awesome. The original Carrie is great.
And I know they did the remake with Hit Girl.
Yeah, the remake was awful. The remake ruins everything about the original. Like, they do add some more crazy, like, what's her name? I forget that woman's name. She was in The Lost World, and she wound up playing Clarice Starling in Hannibal. But she played Carrie's mom in the remake, and she was really good. But everything about that movie was garbage. Just by the fact that they had a pretty girl playing Carrie just kind of ruins everything about her being made fun of and stuff, which I guess you don't have to be ugly.
Sissy Spacek is a creepy looking girl in, like,
Yeah.
like I said, I've seen, like, clips of Carrie, but I've never sat down and watched it in full. But she's fucking creepy looking.
Like, Sissy Spacek has you really believe her shelteredness, the way she acts in this movie, you really believe, and not even the fact that she's not pretty, because you don't have to be ugly to be, made fun of and bullied and shit.
Yeah, it's high school. People make fun of you for the littlest fucking thing.
Yeah, and so it's mostly the way she acts in the original Carrie. It is incredibly believable that she is this awkward, weird, sheltered young lady, and everybody else are just giving her shit. While in the remake, you don't feel that from this Carrie. She's too polished, too normal, I guess, that when she's getting bullied, it's like, I don't know, it's just not working. And I thought that they would, they tried to update it by adding, internet shit, but fucking Carrie 2 sort of did that in a way. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. That was like a video. Man, but anyway, back to Carrie 2.
Well, wait, before we get to Carrie 2, if I'm not mistaken, I heard that the remake sort of kept the crappy ending from the book in it, when there's like a meteor shower or something.
Oh, God. Yeah, the original ending in the movie, or the original movie's ending to me is much better than the ending they used in the remake, because the original Carrie, that movie's ending just makes sense. Everybody dies, and then you get your, here's your jump scare. But Carrie 2, or no, Carrie the remake, it starts raining rocks. Just starts raining rocks, and I believe he visits her grave.
And there's a jump scare there, right?
Yeah, but I don't remember if it was exactly like the first original Carrie. God.
But the Rage Carrie 2, which is a hilarious title to me.
Yeah, like, what? It's almost like...
It's almost like Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2, where you have the subtitle before the...
Yeah, it's almost like they were making another movie just called The Rage. And then halfway through, they were like, let's just make this a Carrie sequel. We'll call it The Rage Carrie 2. So people know.
Please tell me there's an advertisement out there where it's like, Carrie 2, it's all the rage.
Yeah, it's all the rage. Dude, Carrie 2 is garbage. Carrie 2, it has that teen horror movie vibe that you got from your I Know What You Did Last Summers and Urban Legend and Scream and all that. But it's just one of those completely forgettable ones. This movie is the exact same thing as Carrie 1, only
just cheaper.
It's her sister. She has a sister no one knew about. Really?
Oh my god!
Really? Like, now, where did this sister come from? Alright, the original movie is what?
They're just pulling a Michael Myers on you, where it's like, Laurie Strode, I'm your sister.
Like, the timeline almost doesn't make sense, because the original movie is like, what, mid-70s? So...
How old would this sister be?
Yeah, she's in high school in the freaking Carrie 2. So it's like, alright, like, where did this baby come from? Like, I think they might have explained it in the movie, but I just do not remember. But dude, they even tried to do the ending jump scare, and it's just garbage. It's ugly looking. It is horrible. But the whole movie, alright, the original is all about she's got these powers and she doesn't know how to control them, and they're scaring her, and toward the end of the movie, she just flips, and she's not trying to kill everybody. It's basically she just lost control, and
also they like dump blood on her, right?
Yeah.
I've seen the prom scene because it's like one of the most iconic.
Yeah, they dump the pig's blood on her and all that, and everybody's laughing at her.
And she fucking kills her.
They're all gonna laugh at you. But so in this one, this was just stupid. She starts getting together with this dude, and it's like, it's like, hey, like apparently
together with not John Travolta.
But it's like all the jocks in this movie have this sort of game. It's like which girl can we fuck, and it's like they have like this bet going on or something with like, yeah man, I fucked this chick, and this chick. And
it sounded like Jay from Clerks right there. I'll come in, I'ma fuck this bitch, I'ma fuck that bitch.
So it's like, alright, it's like almost like, I dare you to fuck Carrie's sister, bro. Alright, dude. So they do it, and these guys fucking, they film it, right? And there's some big party, and the guy actually falls in love with Carrie's sister. I don't even remember her name. so I'm gonna call her Rage. He falls in. He falls.
Sherry. There you go.
Sherry. He falls in love with Rage, and it's like when the people were filming them fuck, Rage falls asleep, and the dude's just like, "I love you," right? So remember that. Remember that. So at the big party, she goes nuts, starts killing everybody, and even like one of the biggest pieces of disrespect was Carrie's only friend from the original is in this movie, and Rage kills her too, just because. And in the original movie, she's the only one who was Carrie's friend, so Carrie let her go. So like, yeah, that's ruined. And then the reason she kills everybody is because all the jock dudes play the video on like a big screen, and everybody sees it, and everybody's laughing. Oh, we're laughing because you fucked this dude. What? And she's like flipping out, killing everybody. People are dying. Chaos is happening, and
Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah. So next thing you know, the video is playing, and it gets to the point where it's like she's asleep, and he's like, "I love you," and she's like, "Oh my God, he loved me." So I'm just not. I'm gonna stop this now. I'm gonna stop this now because he loved me. He wasn't fucking me just to fuck me. He loved me. Fucking garbage, dude.
Did he kill the dude and then like?
She didn't kill him. But like everybody else fucking died. I don't even remember how she died. And
because that would have been actually a better ending. It would have been cheesy, yeah. But if she killed the dude,
yeah.
And then it's like, "I love you." It's like, oh fuck, what have I done?
Yeah, like that would have been much better, dude. Yeah.
At least given something better with like the characters, some like
God.
pathos or something.
Fucking awful. And so at the end, it's like he's in his bedroom. He's like, "Oh man, I just witnessed all this crazy shit." And then like,
"Oh fuck her again."
She appears in his bedroom, and it's like, "Oh, are you alive?" And he goes to touch her, and it's like quick, loud jump scare scream, and she like turns into this decayed fucking corpse, and cut to credits. Late 90s rock song plays, you know. Awful fucking movie, dude.
Christ.
Awful.
So I guess I'm adding all these Carrie movies to my Halloween playlist. We got Trick or Treat, Candyman, and Rage 2. Carrie 2 the Rage.
Well, watch the original Carrie and then watch Carrie 2. Like, that way, Carrie 2 is even worse.
I love me a bad movie.
Oh, man. Is it bad?
So, my number 5 is a sequel to a sequel to another sequel, but the original is my favorite movie of all time. This is Jaws the Revenge.
Dude, that movie is like so fucking stupid.
I remember as a kid, I liked all the Jaws movies. They're all great. But then as I grew up, it's like Jaws 2 is still pretty good for what it is. Like Roy Scheider does a pretty good job. Jaws 3 is fucking ridiculous, but like fun ridiculous.
It is hilarious. Oh
Jaws
my god.
in SeaWorld.
That is the slowest shark I have ever seen.
And then in Jaws the Revenge, it's like anything that should have been good is just fucking like we got Brody's fucking wife coming back. And originally I thought Jaws the Revenge meant she was getting revenge on the shark, which she eventually does, but no, apparently
the
shark itself is getting revenge on the Brody family. This is the shit I don't think of as a kid, but as I grow older, I'm like, wait, the shark is getting revenge?
And it's like, how can it be the same shark when we've seen him?
I'm assuming it's a distant relative.
I mean, like, for real, dude, that is so... I can understand Jason. I can understand Freddy coming back, because those movies aren't really grounded in any kind of real reality. But this is sea life we're dealing with. These are different rules. So...
Yeah, like, the second movie did it pretty well. That's like, they're not saying the shark is related. They're just like, there's no way we can't have another great white shark doing this. Like, what are the odds? But it is another great white shark. The third movie, it was originally a baby shark that got caught in SeaWorld, I think, by accident. And then once they capture the baby shark. It dies because they put it in the wrong tank or something, and now the mother comes for revenge.
Yeah.
Which I could deal with that because sharks do have feelings. So
But now this is Jaws' brother.
this is Jaws' father's brother's sister's cousin's former roommate.
And he's like, you blew up my freaking friend, man.
So the movie starts out with killing off Sean Brody, who is the little kid in the first fucking
Yep.
movie. Which that's just, it's a terrible death. But part of me, since I'm a fan of Jaws, I'm like, no, not Sean. He was the cute little kid. They take his arm off. I do like Michael Brody. I like the evolution of Michael Brody in these movies. And this is like him. He pretty much became Hooper. He's a marine biologist, and he has this Jamaican friend. They go out to the Bahamas to escape the shark.
Now, is Michael Caine in this movie?
Yes, Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine, and he has the best reaction because he's a plane driver, and they land to go find Mrs. Brody, who went out on a boat to get revenge by herself, and they're like, we have to go get my mother.
Dude, there are scenes in this movie where Michael Caine falls in the water and gets
out completely dry.
Yeah, completely freaking dry, dude.
No, but he comes out in the plane, he's like, everything's okay, the plane has landed, and then the shark just comes out, and he has the best reaction. He's just like, oh, shit.
And then doesn't he survive? Doesn't he live?
Yeah, he does.
He should. I don't think anybody can survive what happened to him, but he did.
Well, dude, the black guy lives too, and he was in the shark's mouth.
Yeah, he got fucked. There is no reason the Jamaican dude should have lived. Like, that movie had no balls.
Endings. There was the TV ending, and there was the DVD ending. And the TV ending is dumb, but it still kind of makes sense. The shark comes out. The shark fucking roars, by the way. Which, sharks don't have tongues. They can't make fucking sounds.
Like, which is amazing. Like, when you have a roaring shark, like, all rules are out the window. So this could just be the same shark. He just sewed himself back together and healed.
Supernatural shark.
Yeah, he's like, I'm the ghost. I'm the ghost of the first shark.
But on the TV ending, it pops out of the water and she rams the tip of the boat into its neck, and blood starts flying everywhere. So yeah, and then it just sinks, which kind of makes sense. And I guess they all die.
That makes more sense than the ending I saw.
Yeah, then the DVD ending, and I guess the theatrical ending, is...
Psychic.
He pokes it with the tip of the boat, and it fucking explodes.
It's like she starts having, like, visions of, like, him, like, with,
Oh, you son of a...
Like, oh my god, dude.
That's the thing, and that's another thing about this movie, is that it pretty much, whenever they need to fill time, they just show, like, flashbacks to the first movie, where it's like... Yeah, that's like the scene where Roy Scheider and Little Sean are copying each other's motions. It's like, yeah, that was a cute scene in the original. I didn't need to see it again. And then she and Michael Caine start to have this little romance that doesn't really go anywhere.
Hello, I'm Michael Caine.
You know, I can't blame her for falling in love with Michael Caine. We all love him. He's too good for this movie. He's obviously the best part of the movie.
Yeah, like...
And this shark looks so fake.
Yeah, dude. The first Jaws had it right by, never showing us the shark until the end.
Like the halfway through where the animatronics actually worked.
I mean, like, having him be a looming threat, like an unseen threat, to me works better than constantly seeing the shark doing things.
Yeah, just like killing people on banana boats and stuff. I don't know, it's just a really dumb movie. It just didn't need to happen. And just the title, too. Jaws the Revenge.
Yeah, Jaws the Revenge.
At the very least, it should have been called The Revenge Jaws 4.
Jaws 4, The Revenge of the Vengeance.
The Psycho Stick album.
Yeah. Nobody kills my drummer but me.
I went to the danger zone. But Jaws: The Revenge, I liked it when I was a kid who didn't know any better, but as I grow up, I'm like, this movie, like, there shouldn't have been 4 of these.
Yeah, really.
Though, Jaws 5 nowadays, with all these sick, like soft reboots, you know, maybe Jaws could come back one more time just for the hell of it, just for fun. Maybe get Steven Spielberg as a producer, and bring back Richard Dreyfuss. I've wanted to see Hooper back for so long.
Yeah, but he's pretty much retired now, isn't he?
I mean, I guess the last movie I saw him in was Red.
Really, the last thing I saw him in was when he played the fucking wizard in that Tin Man on Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, he did that too, and he was also, I think, in one of the Piranha movies.
Was he? Oh my god, that could have been awesome.
But yeah, I think like he could come back for one more Jaws movie as Hooper.
That would be cool.
Because they killed off Roy Scheider off camera. They're just like, it was the fear of the shark that killed him.
Yeah, like, really, dude? How about just
if
move...
it was the fear of the shark, he would have dropped dead of a heart attack while he was fighting it. That dude, sure, he was afraid of the shark, but it's not like he's sitting around later having a heart attack about it. He did his job. He fucking killed it. Twice.
Yeah.
I don't think he had a fear of the shark after the second one. At the end of the movie, like, I know, in the first movie, Brody was a weenie who didn't like the ocean. But then by the end of the movie, you sort of get the feeling like he sort of conquered his fear after killing a shark, because they're kicking away in the water. He's like, I used to hate the ocean. And then Hooper's like, I can't imagine why. But he said, I used to hate the ocean.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I guess, a disrespectful sequel.
It really is. It really is.
And just the fact that Jaws is one of my favorite movies, like, I just have passion for the characters, I guess, the lore, if you will.
Yeah, and by them just, you know...
Killing off the characters that actually had, like, some backstory, like, just killing Sean off right off the bat.
Yeah,
like,
it's like they just...
He could have been a character.
It's like they kill him off at the beginning just to make it seem like, ooh, no one's safe.
Yeah. And it's like the dumbest death ever. Just close up the teeth, blood, done.
It's just like, that is just like with killing Carrie's friend in The Rage 2.
It's like we're killing them just so, you like this character? Fuck them.
Just like killing the lady from the first, the survivor from the first Friday the 13th at the beginning of Friday 2.
Or was it like in not Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, where you have all these characters from the Nightmare Warriors.
And we kill Nancy.
Warriors. They just kill all of them off.
Yeah, which...
Part 4. By the beginning, they replace us with more bland characters, but all the cool characters we loved from Part 3, fucking kill them off right at the beginning.
Yeah, but which one killed Nancy? Was it 4 or was it 3?
3 killed Nancy, but that was, like, well done, I think.
Yeah, that was well done. Like, that wasn't like a disservice.
These characters in Part 3, and then they just, like, I think they kill off, like, all I remember is, like, the awesome black dude, like, screaming up at the camera, like, Freddy's back! And then they fucking kill him off. I'm like, no, he was so cool. Why would you kill him? No. I'm fine with you killing them off if, like, that's the plot of the movie, but they get rid of them so quickly that's, like, and replace us with characters we don't really care about.
Just like killing Laurie Strode in Halloween Resurrection.
Yeah, they should have ended at H2O was, like, the perfect movie for Laurie Strode.
Yeah, H2O ignores all the Halloween movies after 2.
It's perfect. It really is.
The new sequel is basically going to do the exact same thing.
So is it ignoring H2O then?
That's what
I guess.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, everything I've read says the new sequel is going to follow Halloween 1 and 2, so I guess H2O isn't a thing.
Because Halloween 1 and 2 are just, like, they are the classics, so...
Yeah, the first
So
three, man.
I will defend Halloween 3 till I die.
I love Halloween 3. I hated it when I was a kid. When I was like I was like a 12-year-old Michael Myers fanatic. Hated it then, but then as I got older and realized, damn, this movie without Michael Myers is much better than pretty much all of them with Michael Myers.
It just makes more sense to me that it's like if we're gonna continue the series again, Michael was a human, so
Yeah,
he
and
can't come back.
anything can happen on Halloween. Turn it into a anthology movie series. That would have been really cool.
At this point, like as the sequels went on, you could have easily have made Loomis a villain because he's just losing his mind.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, that is Jaws: The Revenge. What is your number 5?
My number 5 is man, I loved the first one. Now, this is one of those things where you got to separate the art from the artist, because the man who made these movies is a piece of dog shit, and he is a horrible fucking person. But he's got 2 movies that I absolutely love, and that's Powder is one of them. Powder is like really, really cool. But my worst sequel here is Jeepers Creepers 2.
You know, I've never really been a huge fan of Jeepers Creepers. There's someone I go to film class with who fucking raves over Jeepers Creepers, and I'm like, you know, the first movie is like enjoyably silly, but I would never say it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's nowhere near like, you know, it's not high cinema, but
Like, just watch the Phalus review. He just points out like every little.
yeah, the Ed Wood style day and night shots in the same scene, like.
I mean, I like Justin Long as much as the next person,
But like, I was just really into the brother and sister characters. This came out at a time where the first one came out at a time where the horror movie landscape to me was pretty damn stagnant and boring, and Jeepers Creepers felt like a breath of fresh air. It was just about this brother and sister, and I love horror movies with a rural kind of atmosphere down in the country, and you know, I love Children of the Corn, you know, and
it's a very easy place to make creepy because I talked about this last time with The Thing. Like, my family has this property in Pennsylvania where it's awesome, like, during the day, but then at night, like, I can't imagine, there are people there who live there all year round. I'm like, I mean, some people like the secluded life, but I'm like, I would be, like, shitting my pants if I was, like, here, like, all the time.
yeah. And like, you just
anything could happen, honestly.
like, even like the American Gothic kind of, just the farming landscape, like, that shit is creepy during the day too, because it's like, especially when it's like desolate and there's nothing out there, like, that's some.
With like rural areas, like, you could easily just kill someone and hide a body, and the cops will like never find you.
Seriously. And so I really just dug the shit out of the first Jeepers Creepers. I was like, it was fun, silly shit. I was really getting into it, just being about a brother and sister, and, you know, them just dealing with it.
Just an obnoxious brother and sister, like, just coming across this shit.
Yeah. They're, you know, I don't even remember where they were planning on going or anything, you know. You just see them driving in their car, and they're, you know, just talking shit with each other, but I dug the hell out of it. And I was like, you know, there's no reason to make a sequel to this movie, but they did, and Jeepers Creepers
I do like
too.
the ending to the first Jeepers Creepers, where you see Justin Long without his eyes. Like, that was creepy.
That was really creepy. That was really, and you got just the song, dude, man. I love the song anyway.
Creepers, where'd you get them peepers?
Like, that shit is cool. And
yeah. I like. It might be a cliche at this point, but I like using old-timey songs in horror films. I think it's still cool.
Yeah, definitely, especially with Tiny Tim in the Insidious. Like, that was amazing. I will never hear Tiny Tim the same again.
I always wanted to do, like, the beginning of a zombie movie, where it's like people, like, almost like the Dawn of the Dead remake, where people are just getting fucked up with music playing, but it would be Tiny Tim's living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight. Just do like turn it into like a vaudeville act.
Like one of my favorite things that they have ever done anything like that with like morbid scenes and real cheery kind of music or really off music is, I hate this fucking movie, but this shit was great. Like that Surviving Christmas with James Gandolfini and Ben Affleck. The movie starts off with a montage of people killing themselves over the holidays, but it's playing that great jazz version of "It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year," and I was like, "That shit is cool." It's the most wonderful time of the year. Bing bong bing.
That's a cliche I never really get over. When I imagine stuff in my head, like I actually wrote a script. I was telling you about this.
Yeah.
I was writing a script that was like very rural and almost Rob Zombie-esque. And I put like in the credits like so much soundtrack use that I want to do, but it's not scary music. I used like ABBA and fucking
awesome.
Like I guess Primus is like the creepiest thing, but I was like putting like a whole like 70s, 80s soundtrack in there. Because I don't know, I just find it creepier when it's like music that is happy.
Yeah.
With thick shit going on.
Like you said, that's a cliche I can always get behind. Like, I just
if you
like
do it
that.
Right, yeah.
But Jeepers Creepers 2 just fucked up what the original kind of movie was. Like, the original movie was its own kind of thing as far as a genre goes. But the sequel just turned it into slasher. Straight up slasher. Let's just have a group of teenagers and kill them all. And I think the biggest problem I had with it was how they get put in that situation. They could have easily avoided every piece of that trauma, that traumatic experience, because the creeper dude, he blows out one of the tires on the bus. Big old school bus. All right. And they
Is it
stop.
the same bus from Trick or Treat?
Say what?
Is it the same bus from Trick or Treat?
Yeah.
They're connected.
But so they stop the bus, and so the creepers just picking them all off, and the bus is their HUD. That's where we spend almost the entirety of the movie. And I'm like, you still got so many more tires on this bus. Drive out of there.
It doesn't matter if like the wheel gets fucked up.
Yeah,
More.
lives are in
Really wanna
danger.
live, you'll
Lives
risk
are
everything.
in danger. And you're worried about fucking up the wheel of this school bus? Come on.
Look, we don't have insurance. I'd rather take a life other than paying for this.
And then toward the end of the movie, after pretty much everyone is dead, there's maybe 2 or 3 of them left. Then they decide to crank up the bus and start driving. And you know what? They
It doesn't
crash
start.
it. They crash it. Fucking ridiculous. That movie sucked. And they
Are
say...
they planning on bringing it back? Are
Yeah, they
planning-
say he's making a Jeepers Creepers 3, and I'm just like, whatever. It's probably gonna fucking suck too.
Yeah. Especially because, like, when did Jeepers Creepers 2 come out? Like, how long has it been?
Yeah, it's been... God, dude, maybe since 2003 or 4.
Like, all these horror movies now, like, they're all in talks now. I think Evil Dead is the only one that really went through with it, like, that in Texas Chainsaw, where it's like, we're going to continue where the older movies left off, but, like, this Halloween talk, like...
Yeah, those will probably
is it really
just
happening,
never
though?
get
Like, they
made.
keep saying they're going to do it, and John Carpenter's going to do the soundtrack and stuff like that. It's like, is this really going to happen, though?
It's to the point, like I've said before, with how the Universal monsters are never going to be as popular or as cool as they were. That's the same thing with Friday and Halloween and all that. They will never work again.
Like, people will still go see it, but they're not going to be good movies.
Yeah, they're just not.
They're a product of their time.
Exactly. Like, that's why we need new shit. We need new shit. We don't need another Halloween. We don't need another Friday. We don't need another Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Unless you do something really creative with it that expands the idea. I know I'm a total like Evil Dead freak, but like I think what they're doing with the TV show works. You have that sort of those good characters that you could bring them into the modern age and stuff like that.
But that's
because there was already an out there idea, so it sort of spans throughout the ages. But it's like when you have a silent killer, it's like you better have other characters who we cling on to, because like Jason himself can't hold a movie anymore.
And see, that's where Evil Dead really works. Is number one, it's not about the bad guy. It's about this charismatic doofus, and at the same time, Evil Dead didn't stick around long enough to get played out, to get shitty. It didn't stick around long enough to just get ran in the ground like all of these movies did. And so with the TV series, we're still at a point where everyone who had something to do with the originals is still around and still love the property as much as they did when they created it. That we're seeing that on screen with the TV series. But we are never going to... They tried with H2O. They tried, by trying... But at the same time, it was just Scream with Michael Myers. And we will just never have a point in time where every player from these originals will get together and make something worth it. At this point,
I do think the Friday the 13th video game that's coming out, how they got Kane Hodder back to do the motion capture, that's great.
That right there is probably the right direction.
But I don't think an actual movie, unless again you do something really well, like a villain is only as good as its hero. So maybe you need another Tommy Jarvis or something like that. Like you need someone who will rival Jason to make the stuff that's going on more interesting, because at this point, we're kind of sick of seeing Jason do the same old shit.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
But you also don't want to make it so far out there like Jason Goes to Hell where he's possessing people. You gotta find that right balance. But I think nowadays these properties are just done for cash in.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, why I think the video game works so well is clearly it's a fan project and a fan homage.
Exactly. The video game to me is probably the best direction Jason can go in at this point. I mean, that shit's just never gonna work again in film. But what number are we on now? 4?
I'm on number 4.
Okay, what is your number 4?
So this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
I did not even think about putting this on here. But
I'll be honest, I am a huge Turtles nerd ever since I was a kid.
Seriously, me too, man. I'm glad you put it on here, dude.
I'm pretty sure the first Turtles thing I saw was Secret of the Ooze. And then, I started watching the 03 series when I was little.
Yeah.
That was, my introduction. But then in my middle school days, I got super into the 80s cartoon and all the other movies. I gave the first 2014 movie sort of a pass. It was dumb, but I'm if I had kids, it's not as brain-numbingly dumb as the Transformers movies.
Yeah.
The second movie, I respect the fact that they put in the Ninja Turtles theme and they tried to bring in all these characters. I just don't think they did it right.
I think the best thing about the new sequel was Bebop and Rocksteady.
And, the Technodrome and Krang.
And they barely even utilized that. But Bebop and Rocksteady, to me, were perfect. And then I really liked the weird, awkward... Baxter Stockman DeGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, he was played by Tyler Perry, right?
Yeah, and that was kind of cool. Medea Stockman, I was like...
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Tyler Perry fan, but, when he does good, I'll admit he does good. Have you ever seen Gone Girl, where he does, a serious role?
Yeah, Gone Girl is
good
a
actor.
good fucking movie. But like, yeah, like I enjoyed Tyler Perry in this. Not like you said, I'm not a big Tyler Perry fan, but I enjoyed him as Baxter Stockman. He was delightfully weird.
Yeah, I liked Baxter Stockman. The thing is, I wish they gave it more to do. It's like they packed it full of so much stuff. I wish Casey Jones was Casey Jones.
They fucked him up. They fucked
Casey Jones
him
in the original
up.
movie is so much better. So here's the thing. Critically speaking, yeah, we're never going to get as good of a Ninja Turtles movie as the original 1991.
Yeah.
Like, that one had the comedy of the TV show mixed with the storyline of the original Dark Comics.
Yeah, and the movie is pretty fucking adult. Dude, that's the first time I was aware of what a cuss word was.
Yeah, I remember I work in the at my local middle school's library, but when I was in middle school going through like my new Turtle phase, I got the collection on DVD, 1, 2, and 3, and some of the seasons, and the librarian was like, my son's getting into Ninja Turtles. Do you mind, like, if I borrow some of those? So I give them to her, and she gives them back to me, like, a couple of weeks later. I'm like, what did he think about them? And they're like, we watched the first movie, and my son was like, the turtles curse a lot.
Ninja kick
like,
the damn rabbit.
That's why it's great. I love when Raphael's like, come back here. I'm not finished with you.
Damn!
Oh my god, but I will defend Secret of the Ooze till the day I die. I'm saying that a lot, that I'll defend something to the day I die, because that was my childhood right there. So much so that I even have the Ninja rap on my phone. The
Dude,
cringy Vanilla Ice song.
Secret of the Ooze is fun, man. I love the first one, but Secret of the Ooze is fun. Even though it tones it down a lot, it's still a little fun movie.
I don't know. I try not to let my nostalgia goggles get in the way, but every time I watch that movie, I'm like, I can't hate this movie.
But yeah, 3 though. 3, to tell you the truth, because I saw all 3 in the theaters when I was a little kid. And 3 was the first time in my life where a sequel pissed me off. And like, it was weird because I was like, probably 7, dude. 7 or 8. And after the movie was over, I was like, just thinking about it. I was like, what is wrong with this movie?
Yeah, it pisses me off more because, a lot of people thought Secret of the Ooze wasn't that good, so when Ninja Turtles 3 came out, they were like, yeah, it's bad, and it still is like one of the worst sequels, but I think the reason why I put it on this list is because I have a huge love for Secret of the Ooze, so to go from that to like 2 pretty damn good movies to this, it's like...
Yeah.
And how, like, the turtle puppets look...
Awful.
They look creepy, and they use villains who were just made up on the fly. It was a dumb story.
I mean, dude, there was so much potential with them going back to ancient Japan.
Like, what if they fought, like, Shredder's relative or something
Yeah.
like that?
Dude, there was so much potential. And then cutting back to Casey Jones hanging out with the old samurai.
That's, like, the only funny part.
Yeah, like, that shit was kind of funny and pretty fun.
Dancing to Tarzan Boy.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Dude, I love that song.
Fighting Shredder's relative would have been cool if they took out some of the other callbacks. Like, fucking, when April gets kidnapped, she, like, looks over at a prisoner who looks nothing like Casey Jones and then goes, Casey? And apparently it really is Casey's relative. And then she sees a rat who they imply is Splinter's relative as well. It's like, the stars must have fucking aligned to get those, like, 2 in one room at the same time.
Seriously. And, like, the fact that they basically reduced Casey Jones into a babysitter. And like, but I did like seeing more Casey Jones because he wasn't in the second one. So
no, they had like what was his name?
That little Asian guy, Hawaiian looking dude, the pizza boy.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember his name. Kino?
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember nothing about him.
Which what happened to him? I guess he's just gone. I liked Kino.
But I liked Casey Jones because he was like the embodiment of '90s grunge.
Yeah, and he was like the perfect like actor for it too.
Yeah, like he looked like he could have been in Pearl Jam, or he could have been like a roadie for Pearl Jam or something. You know, look, he looks like he probably listened to a lot of Nirvana and fucking Stone Temple Pilots. Like the Casey Jones in the original Turtle movies to me was awesome.
He was like, it's the perfect casting for Casey Jones. I don't think we're ever gonna get such good casting for him again.
Yeah.
But yeah, Turtles 3 just, you could have given us, like, more villains from the cartoon, but instead you just, like, time travel. And also, fucking Splinter's voice, is so weird in this one. He sounds like a smoker. He's like, listen, my sons. Where in the first one, he, like, had a gruff voice, but he still sounded wise.
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess living in the sewer, you know, you're not really breathing in fresh air.
Which, fun fact, the person who plays Splinter in the first two movies, I don't know if it's the same person in the third movie because it sounds different, but it was the dude who played Elmo the whole time.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's so weird, but, like, that's talent right there. And I love Splinter in those two movies. He was so, like, wise and understanding, yet he was also badass and funny at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, they always end on Splinter making a funny.
Yeah.
And the one at the end of Turtles 3 is just fucking terrible.
I do not even remember what his funny was.
He makes like an Elvis reference.
Oh yeah, oh my god.
You know, the first one was Cowabunga, the second one was Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go. And then the third one was like, I'm like Elvis in Blue Hawaii. I'm like, you couldn't come up with another catchphrase?
I made another funny.
Ah ha ha ha. Oh my god, but, like, what can I say about Turtles 3 that hasn't already been said? It's, like, down in infamy as one of, like, the most disappointing sequels of all time. I guess we can talk about the racism when fucking Michelangelo calls fucking Japan Godzilla Land.
Oh my god, what now? Like, that is something that Japan just will never escape.
I'm like, Jesus, Mike. You're like, what the fuck?
Oh my god. If Splinter was there to hear that, Splinter would beat his ass.
Was, like, goofy, but, like, he's downright, like, stupid.
Yeah.
In Turtles 3.
And I'm a turtle, I can't get up.
Yeah, help! I'm a turtle and I can't get up. I'm like...
What does that even mean?
They were referencing the Life Alert.
Yeah, years before the Life Alert commercials came out.
Help! I'm a turtle and I can't get up.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, at least they brought back Corey Feldman to play Donatello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I like the voice of... I actually like the voice of Donatello in Secret of the Ooze much better. Because Donatello in the first and third movie, like, Corey Feldman's voice is really, like, gruff.
Yeah.
I felt like he sounded more like how I'd expect Donatello to sound in the second movie. He sort of sounds like the Donatello from the 2003 series. That's another thing I like about the 2003 series, is that if you really pay attention, each of the turtles have, like, a different skin tone.
Yeah. Instead of just being green, 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 and brown.
Yeah, they all have, like... Raph and Mike are more like light-skinned green, and Donatello and Leonardo are more darker-skinned green.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Turtles movies, like, they started out great, and then they just did this slow decline.
That is definitely true. And, you know, yeah. I'm not a big fan of either of the new movies, but I can give them a pass because the first Michael Bay one, to me, the biggest crime was fucking up the origin and basically basically just completely ruining and basically getting rid of the entire drama between Shredder and Splinter. Like, all that's out the window.
Yeah, I don't know how Splinter knew who Shredder was. Like, he's like, Shredder. It's like, you two have never met before.
Yeah, that is all gone. But for what it was, I had a fun time. And even on the second one, like, it was just as bad as that first one, but Bebop and Rocksteady had me smiling a lot. They were hilarious. I was like, this is how they would be in a movie now. Like, they reminded me so much of the cartoon, like, more than any other character in the damn movie.
Yeah, I just wish they had similar voices, because I always wanted to hear on live action, like, say your prayers, Turtles.
Like, even the charisma between those two actors was fantastic. Like, they got two great guys to play those characters, and
yeah, I like how they had, like, no remorse. Like, they made them look almost exactly like the cartoon characters. Like, they gave, which one? Bebop or Rocksteady? They gave him, like, the 80s, like, glasses and the mohawk.
Yeah, that was so cool, man. And, like, I was like, wow, you guys made everyone else look absolutely nothing like the originals, but damn, you guys got Bebop and Rocksteady spot freaking on.
Yeah, like, Megan Fox as April O'Neil, I could still never really get over. Like, she does alright, but it's like, I could have thought of... Like, have you ever seen Dredd?
Yeah.
You know The Rookie?
Yeah, she would have been great.
Like, she would have made a great April O'Neil.
Yeah, she would have been great.
Like, she looks exactly like... If you just gave her a yellow jumpsuit.
And, oh, yeah, dude. God. But yeah, like, Krang, they did nothing with him. Shredder, they did nothing with him. Technodrome, they did nothing with the Technodrome. Casey Jones, they did nothing with Casey Jones. April, they did nothing with April.
Vern did nothing with them other than Steve Jones.
Nothing with Vern. Like,
you have Will Arnett.
Yeah.
He's super talented, and you're just like, just do some slapstick.
I mean, like, nobody in this movie did anything except for Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah. But yeah, Turtles 3 is my number 4. What is yours?
My number 4 is X-Files, I Want to Believe.
I saw that in, like, a top list when I Googled the worst sequels, when I was trying to, like, refresh my memory on some bad sequels. And I couldn't even believe that was the title. I Want to Believe.
It's not necessarily the title. They kind of did that with the first X-Files movie. The first X-Files movie was just called The X-Files. But the tagline for the movie was Fight the Future. And people just started calling it X-Files Fight the Future. So that's basically what it is. X-Files episode Fight the Future. And that's how X-Files 2 kind of was. It just said X-Files and then I Want to Believe. And that made sense because that was Mulder's whole thing, is I want to believe. And I just thought it was a tagline, but to call it, just to straight up call it that is stupid. But dude, I am a huge X-Files fan. Growing up when it was on TV, every Friday night, it was X-Files. And then when they moved it to Sundays, it was X-Files. And even when the show got awful, when Mulder had left, and Robert Patrick came in and was playing Agent Doggett, I was watching all of those too. And the first movie, I love the shit out of the first movie because of how it connects to the plots of the major arcs of this TV series. And like, shit, dude, X-Files was awesome. Even when they brought the new series they did last year, that was great. That was awesome. And but the I Want to Believe movie, man, I was waiting for that because it was after the big finale from the X-Files where it's like, okay, aliens are coming in 2012, Mayan calendar shit, you know. I was like, this movie can really, expand upon that. But instead, a big thing that would sort of bore me with X-Files was I was always a bigger fan of the main plot line with the alien bounty hunters and the smoking man. I did like a lot of the monster of the week episodes, but to me it's like, oh, I want to see more of what's really going on, you know?
This
And
reminded me with the cigarette smoking man when we were talking about the Thing video game and how the cigarette smoking man is the villain of the Thing video game.
yeah.
It's the same actor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm assuming he pretty much just does the same shit he did in the X-Files.
yeah. Like he was like the main man behind the pulling the strings and the conspiracy and all that, and
Now, like, when did it start to get shitty? Because I need to get into the X-Files, because I feel like it would be my kind of show, but I heard, like, did it start out as aliens and then go into ghosts or something like
well,
that?
it was always as far as the Monster of the Week series went, it could be anything. It could be ghosts, it could be aliens, it could be werewolves, anything like that. It, you know, even down to like poisonous mushrooms and tobacco beetles. Like some of them were really over the top and goofy, and a lot of them were really funny. And then one of the most darkest episodes was Home with this freaking inbred mutant family that just kill the shit out of this sheriff and their family, and while this awesome 1950s doo-wop is playing, like, speaking of that cliche we love, but like, the show could get really dark, and then sometimes it could get really funny, and then sometimes it could, you know, just get a little boring. But yeah, the show to me just kind of got shitty after, I believe it was season 7, when Mulder finally found out what happened to his sister and all of that. And to me, that felt like the real ending to the series. But then they kept it going. Mulder didn't want to come back. So they come up with this idea of how he's abducted by aliens, and you mostly just follow Scully around and with Agent Doggett, and then Scully just leaves at the end of that series, and the final season, you can really just write that off until you get to like the last 2 episodes, because Scully isn't in any of them. It's just Doggett and Reyes, who are the new X-Files people, and then at the end you finally get the Mulder and Scully shit, and yeah, it just kind of got disappointing after season 7, and even before season 7, it like season 6 kind of had a lot of lackluster moments as well, but shit.
Just when shows stay around for too long, they just lose their luster.
Yeah, like, but to me, one of the really sad things about I Want to Believe is I waited years. Me, Stas, and my brother Zach got stoned as shit. Yeah, I know a lot of my stories begin with that.
It's the pre-movie ritual.
Yeah, dude, we smoked like 2 joints on the way to the theater, and freaking, I was supposed to buy the tickets, but I cannot handle myself when I'm stoned, and so we're like getting out of the car, and I'm just like, oh my god, you guys, I can't do this. Y'all gotta buy the tickets. I can't do this. They're like, dude, just calm down, calm down. Like, I can't buy the tickets, man. I can't talk to people right now. And we're in the theater, dude. We're watching it, man. And I was getting into it, man. Until the movie started showing itself. And I'm like, they're not going to mention anything that happened in the last episode, are they? And no, they don't. It was basically a Monster of the Week episode. A real shitty Monster of the Week episode.
That goes on for way too long.
Yeah, it goes on for way too long, dude. And I'm like, man, I waited, 6 years or so? And this is what you give me? Like, come on. And I was like, so upset, dude, because I was like, this is probably it. This is the last we will ever get of the X-Files. This is it. And they do this. And then 2012 happens, and I'm like, it's over, it's over. The aliens have taken over the X-Files. But then when they made that new 6-episode series last year, man, that totally made up for all of the wrongs that the I Want to Believe movie had did. that was better than anything they could have done in I Want to Believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my uncle was like super into the X-Files, so I'll have to see if he has like some DVDs or something, because I've been wanting to check this show out for a while.
I think they're all on Netflix.
That too, yeah. So, my number 3. This was a hard choice because, you know, when you talk about bad sequels, you could either go Batman and Robin or Superman 4. But a recent movie came out which bridged the two together and made a total piece of shit.
Oh.
And this is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Because fucking I've ranted about this before already. Man of Steel wasn't even a good movie to begin with, so it's just shit on top of shit. And you know, what I've talked about before is the great thing about Batman and Superman is that Superman's the bright one and Batman's the dark one. But in this Zack Snyder universe, they're all dark, they're all brooding, and like then there's no contrast. And Superman's supposed to be the one you're technically rooting for because he goes through the most like development in the movie. But he's a piece of shit. He doesn't like saving people. He feels like it's more of a job, which, yeah, I guess realistically, if you were a superhero, you do that. But that's the reason why we have shit like Watchmen, to show what a realistic Superman would be like, or like Elsewhere stories. But when I go to the theater to see a Superman movie, you could have like a dark story, but it's so disrespectful to the characters. Like, people argue with me all the time, like, oh, they're just trying to do something different. It's like, there's doing something different, and like I said, then there's being disrespectful to what the character would do. Then there's being, like, right out of the ballpark. Lex Luthor, this was the one chance we could have gotten a serious Lex Luthor. I made a whole video about it called Lex Issues, where he was, like, one of my biggest problems was that, one, we were teased when we thought Bryan Cranston was going to be Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
And
that would have been great.
He would have fit well in this universe because he would have been, you know, he would have been fucking, like, intimidating.
Superman, I am the one who knocks.
Yeah, like, but instead we get this comic relief Lex Luthor, which technically we've seen before.
Yeah, he wanted so to be the Joker.
It works in those movies. Yeah. Like, it's not Lex Luthor, it's Jesse Eisenberg trying to be the Joker. And, you know, maybe if he was cast as the Joker, it would have worked. But in this case, it doesn't work, and they copped out. I know this was a rewrite, because everyone complained about Jesse Eisenberg being Lex Luthor, so they technically make him Lex Jr. That the real Lex Luthor who started the company, like, died or something like that.
Yeah,
like, you know they went back and did that last minute. Just like with the Doomsday fight. Everyone complained about the collateral damage in the first Man of Steel. So they're just like, wow, they're completely destroying the city. Good thing this part of the city's abandoned.
Yeah, like, for real. That reminds me of that old Dragon Ball Z in a nutshell thing where it's like, oh man, we gotta fight and have this big battle in a completely desolated place where no one lives that is right over there.
But you see, in, like, Dragon Ball Z, it's silly, so that works. But, you know, again, just because something's realistic doesn't mean it's good. Yeah, realistically, if two Kryptonians came down and started fighting in a city, yeah, you'd fuck some shit up. But the thing is, that's real life. We see shit like that on TV all the time, like places being blown up and destroyed. The reason why Superman is so special is because he's the light in the darkness. He makes us forget about our problems, and you know, I know in Man of Steel, Superman was just starting out, so maybe you can make the excuse, like, he couldn't control what was going on, but if I was to make a Superman movie, Zod would start rushing towards the city, and Superman would just get in his way and punch him in the fucking space, or into a field.
Yeah.
But in Man of Steel, he, like, fucking throws Zod into fucking, like, 7-Elevens and blows things up just as much. And Wonder Woman is completely wasted. She's probably, like, one of the cool things about it Although I completely think Lena Headey from Game of Thrones and 300 would have been a much better live-action Wonder Woman than Gal Gadot. And Batman, you know, Ben Affleck's performance was good, but the character was a psychotic murderer. And then there's that whole big thing where it's like they become friends because both their mother's name are Martha.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. How do you know that
name? My brother
name?
actually likes Batman v Superman, so he made a pretty good excuse that, you know, Batman the whole time thinks that Superman is this dangerous alien, so when he shows that their mothers have the same name and that he cares about his mother, it means like, oh, he's human too, but I don't know, I could see maybe him considering that, but I don't think that would stop.
It's just not conveyed all that well.
That if he's gonna do something, he's gonna do it.
Because I can see that being the point, but at the same time, it was just not conveyed well at all.
Yeah. And the face fucking Superman makes after fucking Batman goes like, how do you know that name? Like, Henry Cavill looks like the character, but again, I call it Hayden Christensen syndrome, where it's like, you yourself are not a bad actor, but the shit you're given to work with makes you look bad. And Henry Cavill, like, I don't know, like, I guess it's the script, because he's just a boring Superman.
Yeah, I have not seen this movie yet. I haven't seen Man of Steel, fucking...
And now Ben Affleck's like trying to back out.
Yeah, like
he's not the director of the Batman movie anymore.
Now
he's trying to get out of the role entirely, even though he understands the character of Batman. He would have been the thing that saved the DC cinematic universe for me, because like I said about Suicide Squad, although I enjoyed it for its charisma, it's still not a good movie. The DC universe is still not going well. So if Ben Affleck got to write and direct and star in his own Batman movie, I feel like it would have brought things back on track. But now that I hear he's trying to leave, it's like the DC universe is fucked.
Yeah, and the big problem is they rushed it, man. Like, Marvel let it breathe. And
yeah. Well, that's the thing. You can't really do that now. Like, you started too late. They've tried to do cinematic universes before with Green Lantern, and that didn't work.
Yeah.
The thing is, you just gotta try and do your own thing. Like, don't try to make as much money as Marvel, because you're already too late to the game to do that. And I kind of see they're trying to do their own thing with the darkness aspect, but it seems like they're just trying to play off the gimmicks of a long-gone era. Like,
yeah.
Nobody really cares about a dark and gritty superhero movie anymore, unless it's done right. Like, Christopher Nolan movies had a reason to be dark and gritty, but just because you make Superman sad doesn't mean, like, he's a stronger character.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes him emo. And they kill off Superman just so they can bring him back in this new Justice League movie. And now he's going full-on dark Superman. He's got a black suit now and a beard. I'm like, you kind of had to be a bright, preppy Superman before you could go into a dark Superman.
Yeah, just to throw all of that in one movie.
And they threw in Doomsday. The one time I would actually, like, I wouldn't mind collateral damage in a Superman movie is with Doomsday, because that's what he's there to do.
Yeah, he just
sort of comes and goes. He's a mixture of Zod and fucking Lex Luthor's DNA, yet he looks nothing like Zod or Lex Luthor.
They should have probably just did a Superman 2, and then maybe a Wonder Woman movie, and then do the Batman versus Superman, and then do Superman 3 and kill him off there. They should have spread things out. They should have spread things out.
And I love how they're trying to make Lois Lane, like, they tried to make Lois Lane seem like a strong character in the first one, and now they're just going straight back to her being the damsel in distress.
God, really?
Yeah, like, seriously? Here's the thing about Superman in these new movies. He could give a fuck about any of the other people, but if Lois Lane's in danger, he's there. But any other people, like, there's somebody who's supposed to be Jimmy Olsen in Batman v Superman who gets shot in the face in, like, Syria or something like that.
Yeah, that was, like, all over the place when
Superman
that happened.
Come and save him, but he comes and does the superhero landing when Lois Lane is in danger and kills a guy by throwing him through a wall.
Jesus Christ.
It's too, Zack Snyder thinks he's smart, but he really isn't. When you're adapting 300, you're good, Zack. And when you're... I like Watchmen. I think it's probably the best superhero movie ever made, in my opinion. But, Zack, you can't do the same thing with Batman and Superman. Which, by the way, if you already worked with Gerard Butler on fucking 300... tell me why you didn't cast him as Zod. I liked Michael Shannon as Zod, but Gerard Butler just is Zod.
Yeah, that'd have been pretty rad.
But I guess the reason why they didn't cast him is because he did do 300, and it would have been too much like Leonidas.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what you hire Gerard Butler
this
to do.
This is Krypton!
Yeah. I don't know, Batman v Superman, I can see why some people like it, but it's just such a messy film. Like, there's the scene where Batman has a dream sequence and the Flash tries to talk to him. They fucking throw in the Justice League, last minute on a video file. Where we see Cyborg, the Flash, Khal Drogo as Aquaman.
Wow.
And, by the way, I think Aquaman is underrated. I don't know why we have to have Khal Drogo be fucking Aquaman. I'd much rather have your typical gold-suited, blonde-hair Aquaman.
I think he might look cool as Aquaman.
But the thing is, Jason Momoa isn't really that great of an actor to begin with. He's mostly good at playing, silent types.
Yeah,
and he's gonna do the same shit as Aquaman. I wish Chris Pine wasn't a character in the Wonder Woman movie coming up, because he would have been a good fucking Aquaman. That, or, if Paul Walker was still alive.
See, here's the thing with Aquaman, especially with Jason Momoa being Aquaman. Okay, I can see Aquaman being awesome when he has another superhero character to work off of. But if it was his own movie and he was the lead, that might not work too well.
It wouldn't.
Kind of like how I feel with...
He gets a lead when he was in Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah, but kind of like how I feel with the Hulk movies. And, to me, the Hulk as a character works better when he's around another group of heroes to work off of. But if it's
I
a
feel
Hulk...
like that's because writers haven't gotten their niche with the Hulk yet.
Yeah.
I feel like Hulk could hold his own movie if done right, but so far, yeah, he's good with the Avengers. He's best with the Avengers.
Yeah, and so when you get Hulk by himself, it's mostly just, I hate being this, I don't want to be this, and... it's just not that fun. So that's why I think they're putting Hulk in the new... Thor movie, so we basically get a Thor 3 and a Hulk 3 all in one.
Yeah. But, yeah, I like the classic Aquaman, because Aquaman gets a bad rep. He really is one of the strongest characters in the DC roster, but just because everyone knows him as the guy who could talk to fish.
And then you gotta love the trailer for the Justice League movie that came out that just feels like a Marvel trailer. It feels like the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer with...
I feel like this cast could do well.
It looks fun. I'm not even gonna lie. It looks fun. It's the best trailer I've seen for any of these DC movies. Because when I see the Wonder Woman trailer, I'm like, wait a minute. Why does this look like Captain America?
And World War I.
And then but I see the Justice League trailer and I'm like, this right here is beat for beat,
fuck it up.
just copying the Guardians trailer. Let's have a cool rock song. Let's cut
Suicide
jokes.
Squad was pretty much their answer to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, but not the trailer though. I'm mostly talking about the trailer because I got we want it to be like Guardians. But the Justice League trailer...
We want to put comedy too, but I don't know. They want to put comedy in. But the thing is, you could just tell by the way it looks too. It's still the muted colors. It's still the dark. It's still... I wouldn't say dark, because dark is alright. It's drab. It's fucking muted color. It's just depressing. And a Superman movie should never be depressing. There's a montage of Batman v Superman of him saving people with like a boring look on his face, like he's dragging a fucking tanker through ice, and he just has like, I don't know, like an Oasis song or something should be playing. I don't know, or an Enya song or something.
Someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide,
Yeah,
like a champagne supernova in the sky.
He should be listening to like fucking the Smiths or something. Just,
God.
why are you so sad, Superman? Like, this is what you're supposed to do. And then they always gather around him like he's a Jesus figure. I'm like, I know people like to compare Superman to like a Messiah figure, but Zack Snyder doesn't know how to be subtle about it.
Jesus is from Krypton.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like, they're trying to appeal to the audience, but they can't escape what they've gotten themselves into.
Yeah, true that. True
But
that.
yeah, that is my number 3.
My number 3, these movies right here, my last 3, are the ones that pissed me off the most. And 2 of them ruined, 2 of them are a reason why I haven't gone and looked at a lot of these new comic book movies, because these movies piss me off so much. And I know they shouldn't piss me off that much, but at that point in time, it just really fucking pissed me off. And I'll eventually get to all these new comic movies, but I'm in no hurry. But my number 3 is X-Men 3, The Last Stand.
I was considering putting it on my list, but I haven't seen it in so long. And when I was a kid, you know, I wasn't as critical, so I did kind of like it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess the newer movies, like Days of Futures Past, since they go back in the past, like I guess I could just spoil it for you if you don't already know.
I know all about all
They
that.
pretty much undo this stuff. They
Which
pretty much
I'm
undo
totally
X-Men
cool
Origins
with.
and X-Men 3, so it like doesn't even count for me anymore. So I just forgot about it.
So like that's why I say I'll eventually get to them, but this is why I haven't. I could arguably put Wolverine on here because Wolverine to me is much worse. But
which one, X-Men Origins Wolverine or just the Wolverine?
yeah, well, X-Men Origins. That one is
the Wolverine was pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't even seen that one yet. Like X-Men Origins.
The Logan trailer looks sick.
Yeah, it does look cool. It does look cool. But Origins, I knew it was going to be bad after seeing X-Men 3, but Origins to me is arguably a worse movie, but X-Men 3 just pissed me off so much.
I mean, at least we had Kelsey Grammer as Beast.
Yeah, that was the
good.
best thing about it to me was him as Beast. Like, that was perfect casting on the same lines as getting Patrick Stewart as Xavier.
Yeah,
And
but then we have like Colossus, which is terrible. And
yeah, to me they got Colossus right when they did Deadpool. Like that was the best Colossus.
That was Colossus.
But dude, X-Men 3, I dug the first one. I was like, for a first movie, it was alright. But then the second one got so deep and so serious. I was like, God, man, what a great fucking movie, man.
Which is more disappointing with X-Men Origins Wolverine's case because we started to get a hint of Wolverine's like origins and stuff like that, and you see like him and Stryker like fucking hate each other.
Yeah, and it's like to me you see enough of Wolverine's origin in X-Men 2.
Yeah, like they pretty much you don't need to see anymore. Like it would have been interesting to see him on the team with Deadpool and stuff like that if they did it right, but they didn't.
And
But X-Men 3, I just remember they killed off Cyclops. It wasn't who's the guy who directs the first
this
X-Men?
time it was Brett Ratner as opposed to Bryan Singer.
Yeah, because Bryan Singer was off doing Superman Returns.
Yeah, and that's why they killed off Cyclops. Because Bryan Singer, they wanted Bryan Singer to do X-Men 3 before he went and did the Superman. But Bryan's like, let me do Superman and then we'll do X-Men 3. Fox is like, no, we want X-Men 3 now. So another thing that Bryan Singer did was he brought the actor who played Cyclops to be in that Return of Superman movie. And so they just unceremoniously kill the shit out of Cyclops.
And they took the fucking Phoenix saga and like
fucked it up.
Yeah, just simplified it to just. It's just so dumb. It has a couple cool moments, like Magneto doing the thing with the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Like, there were some pretty cool moments in it, but
killing off Professor X. I don't know how he came back for the later movies.
But like this movie as a third movie is very much in contrast to my second pick, which we'll eventually get into. But this movie came off of much hype from the second one, and this movie, the plot seemed rushed. It was like, boom, all of a sudden here's the Brotherhood, boom, all of a sudden here's the students of the school being in a big battle. Like, I mean, Iceman is cool, Rogue is cool, but like having them as students and then fighting kind of felt a little rushed, because it was like we never saw them really practice their powers all that much, you know. And
also, one of my gripes with the X-Men movies in general, like, I like Rogue, but she doesn't fly. It would have been cool to see her, like, fly.
Yeah.
But that's just a nitpick, because she doesn't have to. She was cool for what she did.
Yeah, and like...
That's me just being a comic book fanboy, where I'm like, it would have been cool to see her fly.
I mean, like, to me, like, nothing in this movie paid off. They finally put Angel in a movie, and it's a cheap cameo. But the themes were... The themes of this movie they had so much potential with the...
with, like, the Cure?
Yeah, with the entire Cure, and it being...
Oh, yeah, they just fucking waste Mystique. They just shoot her with the Cure.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, all the ideas brought up with, like, there's a cure now. Should we get the cure? We are human.
That's a good idea. Like, that can create some good character drama, but
yeah.
It's like just sort of glossed over.
Because, like, it's like, all right, what does it mean to be human? These humans want us to be human and lose our powers, but we are human as well. We're just the new evolution, and that's such a good fucking concept that they...
It's like, why would we want to be human? We're like top of the line people.
Seriously,
now.
like they ruined that plot line so bad.
Like, you could see why some mutants are good and some mutants are evil, because, like, and that's the thing that's so good about the relationship between Charles Xavier and Magneto, is that you never really get the idea they hate each other.
Yes, they just have different views.
Which
and it's
goes
so
back
good.
to when they first started writing the comic, that Professor X was based on Martin Luther King and Magneto was based on Malcolm X. They both had a similar yet different viewpoint.
Yeah,
like,
one's more peaceful while the other one's more aggressive and
more
radical.
Take charge,
more radical.
Yeah.
And
it's like both of them aren't necessarily wrong. They're just different.
And like they just fuck it all up in X-Men 3. I mean,
there's one good thing about X-Men 3, and it's a deleted scene where Mystique is like they're imprisoned, and she disguises herself as the president, and she's like, "Get me out of these chains! Don't you know who I am?" And then the security guard is just like, "Mr. President, shut the fuck up." But then I guess the only good thing from the movie that's in the movie is the classic, "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch."
Oh, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Like, dude, they fuck Juggernaut so bad, but I love that line. It is so awful. It is so stupid, but it was so random and out of nowhere. Oh, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. I laughed so hard.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
But I don't know, like,
dude, Kelsey Grammer
transformation from good to evil just wasn't compelling enough.
Like, Kelsey Grammer being in this, like, wouldn't it have been awesome if I always forget his name, but wouldn't it have been awesome if they got the actor that played Frasier's brother Niles on Frasier to like play like his assistant or like a buddy of his in there.
Yeah, just as a quick little cameo.
Yeah, like that would have been pretty cool, you know.
Like when you first meet Beast, he's like just having like a civil chat with like his old college buddy or something.
Yeah, and it's fucking Niles from freaking Frasier, like that.
Like the one human in college who didn't didn't fucking hate him for being a mutant.
That would have been hilarious, or you know, have like Martin Crane walk up, you know, Frasier's father, have him like walk up somewhere, you know, that would have been like a kind of cool little
also,
cheap
the beginning
reference.
of the movie teased at Sentinels, and we thought we were gonna get a cool Sentinel movie, but then it's the training room.
It's the freaking danger room. They ruined that. Oh God. Oh, I was so mad at this movie, but I wasn't.
And the Sentinels in Days of Futures Past aren't really that great either, but they're a million times better than that one little tease.
Yeah, and this movie doesn't piss me off for this franchise as my number 2 pick, but we will get there. So, what is your number 3?
My number 2. Which
your number
is
2.
a 2. And it's a movie that originally was not meant to be a sequel, but they slapped it on because the movie was popular. American Psycho 2.
Oh no!
Girl.
I could not get through that. She kills Patrick Bateman like what, off camera?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Automatically, you take out all the ambiguousness of the first movie by just saying, "Yep, he actually was a serial killer." And yeah, I felt like I was going brain dead, but I did finish the movie with Mila Kunis and fucking William Shatner. Okay, so Mila Kunis has like talked about this, how she didn't even know it was gonna be an American Psycho sequel when she was filming it.
Wow.
Like that, or when she first got the script. And she was like, this was right in her popularity on That 70s Show, so she wasn't really a big star yet. This was like her first starring role.
Wow.
It's just fucking stupid. It doesn't even feel... You could tell it's from a different script because it doesn't feel like American Psycho. It's so... It's a typical slasher movie with puns and stupidity. Like, every time she kills someone, she says a pun.
Oh, no.
There are moments that kind of have a twinge of American Psycho in them when they're talking about, like, the social groups in the fucking college that she goes to. But, I don't know, like, the plot just doesn't make any sense. She encountered Patrick Bateman as a child, so now she wants to grow up and learn how to stop serial killers while also being a serial killer herself.
That sounds awful.
The music is terrible. I don't know, I can't even really, like, remember much about it other than the fact that it's, like, Mila Kunis isn't intimidating at all.
Oh my, and I bet there's none of that great, like, class satire, like that social class satire in there.
No, I was hoping, like, because Bret Easton Ellis, the author of American Psycho, also did a book called The Rules of Attraction, which was a good parody on college life.
Yeah, and they already made a movie about that with...
I actually think that movie's really underrated, actually.
Because isn't that character like Patrick Bateman's brother or something?
Yeah, James Van Der Beek plays Sean Bateman. Because in the book, Patrick Bateman's first appearance was Rules of Attraction.
Okay.
So maybe if you sort of took a cue from that, if you're going to make it American Psycho 2, maybe, and set it in college, take a cue from, like, Rules of Attraction and have it be a parody on, like, college life and relationships. But no, again, it wasn't meant to be an American Psycho 2. Lionsgate, before they had Saw to exploit, they're like, what's our big moneymaker? Everyone liked that American Psycho, let's just slap a number 2 on this movie. Bret Easton Ellis couldn't even get through American Psycho 2. Like, there was a Q&A with him, and he's just like, I remember they were making the movie, and the fucking tagline was like, bigger, sexier, and scarier, and then he's like, it was none of those, maybe lamer.
Wow.
But the idea was gonna be, if American Psycho 2 was popular, they were gonna make more American Psycho movies with a different protagonist each time, which would have been interesting to see different satires of different American, like, groups, of different social groups, because there's a lot of things you could satire
Yeah.
in America. That was one of the complaints some people said, like, this book's good, but shouldn't have been called American Psycho. It should have been called, like, Cosmopolitan Psycho, because it doesn't really represent all of America. But I'm like, it's a catchy title, shut up. But yeah, American Psycho 2 is just, all in all, cringe. The ending is stupid. It's laughably bad. And again, I was like hitting myself in the head by the end of it. I've been wanting to do like a full-on review of it for my channel, but I haven't had time to. Like a full-on like Nostalgia Critic type, like me doing a personality and reviewing the film, other than my normal just getting on my mic and talking and rambling. Like I wanted to do a full-on scripted review of it. So I might do that maybe like next October.
That'll be
But I
cool.
don't think I could sit through this again.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
So, my number 2 is like the last one. It's a comic book movie. It's the third one. The first one was decent.
Let me guess.
Second one was phenomenal.
Spider-Man 3?
Spider-Man 3.
See, again, I have a warm place for Spider-Man 3 in my heart. Like, it's definitely not a good movie, but I don't think it's as bad as everyone says it is. Like, if you get rid of the dance sequence and Emo Peter and...
It's
again,
not
Sam
even
Raimi
the
didn't even want
dance
to use Venom.
sequence, man. It's like they had so much potential in this one and they squandered it all.
But
Like
it is kind of cool to see, what's it called? I think Nostalgia Critic pointed this out when, like in Spider-Man and Sandman, they sort of just come to an agreement. Like, you never really see that in a superhero movie, and that's kind of neat to see. Like, they both sort of forgive each other.
that was cool. This movie, there is a good movie buried in a lot of shit in this movie. The Sandman I thought was great. And Harry
that scene where
Osborn.
he first becomes the Sandman is almost like a short art film for a second. It's
that
very
was
powerful.
great. That looks amazing. And then you have Harry Osborn basically trying to get revenge. That started off pretty good.
Then it just went too far.
Then to make Sandman the man who accidentally killed Uncle Ben kind of ruined some things for me. Then
You gotta think that's fucking with Peter, though, that he pretty much killed a dude who didn't kill his own. He just killed a guy.
yeah, he just killed a dude for no reason, but that kind of just, I don't know, man, it just kind of ruined some shit, because, you know, the whole thing was, he could have stopped the guy eventually, but he didn't, and it got his uncle killed. But now,
Yeah,
if he just...
it sort of takes an axe to his morals. Like, that's the whole reason he says with great power comes great responsibility, because, you know,
Yeah.
you could have stopped that guy and saved his uncle. Now I could save all these people, like, as sort of, I don't know, like...
And so then
making up for it.
there's the whole Harry loses his memories, and it...
Yeah, oh my god, I forgot about that.
It
How
seems-
stupid that is.
It seems like a cheap fucking chick flick in moments with that. That did
Yeah,
not
when the
need
fucking
to...
Mary Jane and Harry Osborn are making breakfast together and doing the twist.
Yeah, dude, that...
Like, you know, that's definitely a Sam Raimi-ism, like all this cheesy stuff, because he likes to do stuff like that.
But it wasn't good Sam Raimi cheese.
Yeah, except for the part where Bruce Campbell's the French maitre d'.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell's a delight in all of them.
Peter Peckout.
But then you have the complete bastardization of the black suit story and
Yeah,
Venom.
'cause that was tacked in by the studio. Sam Raimi didn't want to go anywhere near the black suit.
The best way they could have done the black suit is introduce the black suit in this, but don't give us Venom until the very end. What they should have
That's
did...
the funny thing, too, that, like, it's funny that Sam Raimi didn't want to tackle Venom, even though this is the dude who makes Evil Dead. Like, you could have made such a almost Sam Raimi horror movie.
Yeah.
Like, a horror movie.
He could have done Venom so much better, dude. Like, look, have half of the movie with Spider-Man showing us him being torn with the black suit, and at the very end of the movie, and he's fighting Sandman. I dug Harry joining up with him at the end, except for
though it's sort of tacked on, like
the random butler
comes. He's like, Spider-Man didn't kill your father when
I cleaned up his wounds. And it's like, really, man? Like, come on, dude.
You should have told me that, like, right then and there.
Yeah, Deus Ex Butler.
Yeah.
But
how it should have ended did that. It was like, you knew this the whole time. Like, do you see what happened to my face because of this shit? Like, you're fired.
Yeah, Jenkins, you are fucking fired.
Yeah.
But then you have what they should have really did was show us him being tormented with the suit. At the end, he's fighting fucking Sandman, but he can't fucking fight well because of all that rage. And the bell happens, the suit comes off, and you have fucking Spider-Man, and he saves the day. He comes to his little agreement with Sandman. Sandman blows away in the wind, and then at the end, you have what's his name, Eddie Brock. He's already a journalist. Have him following around and shit, trying to get a story.
Yeah, have him like be what they tried to do in the movie. Have him be like Peter Parker's competition the whole time, but instead of him being Topher Grace, like I like Topher Grace as much as the next guy. He's not Eddie Brock material. Eddie Brock is like a jacked up.
Yeah.
He's a jerk off.
Seriously, but have him there. He was following Spider-Man. And he trips out.
Yeah, Jameson. Here's the story. Jameson wants pictures of Spider-Man because maybe Peter's not doing the best job anymore. Because, he's busy doing Spider-Man, and they're both on a competition trying to fucking get better pictures.
Yeah,
so that's why he's following him around.
And so what happens is when the black suit comes off, you see Peter Parker, and he's taking pictures of Peter Parker, and he's like, "Oh shit, it's fucking Peter." What the fuck?
Yeah.
And then at the end, he gets the suit and becomes Venom, and it's like, boom, big fucking
didn't
shit.
Treat the black suit right because it just made Peter into a doofus. When in the comics, it was more like a drug addiction.
Yeah,
almost.
they fucked that up. The dancing scene is whatever. The emo Peter shit is whatever.
I like the music going on during the emo Peter montage, but I don't know.
Like,
the best thing about that movie was the Stan Lee cameo.
They fucked it up, dude. Like, it should have been like a drug addiction. It should have been like a drug addiction. It fucking... The emo Peter shit was a way of showing him being a little full of himself. He didn't need to flip his hair to the side and all that, but show him being a little full of himself. Yeah, he's overconfident, but at the same time... Show him being mean to fucking Aunt May. Show him being mean to fucking Mary Jane, like a real fucking crazed ass drug addict.
He slaps Mary Jane like once, and then he thinks it's all over. He's a monster.
Yeah, like...
It's like he should have been full on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, like fucking... Like, taking his vigilanteism to, like, the next degree, where it's like, it's not vigilanteism anymore. Like, he's just fighting his own personal demons at this point. Like, taking out his own aggressions on, like, maybe he stops a mugger and just starts beating the ever-loving fuck out of him to the point where even the person who was being mugged is like, yo, back off on him, fuck!
Yeah. Like, dude, there were so many... the second movie was so fucking serious with its ideas and themes. And all of that is out the window in Spider-Man 3. Just like with X-Men 3. Like, both of these movies had some great potential plot lines that were just glossed over or treated wrong.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta blame the studio for these things.
Definitely, man. And yeah,
there's George Lucas scenarios where he has too much free reign to do whatever he wants, and then there's other movies where the studio doesn't let the director do what they want.
And Raimi definitely got fucked over. And it's definitely the
Although
studio's
I still
fault.
think if Raimi could do whatever he wants, I still think he would have done the emo Peter stuff because that really does have his fingerprints all over it.
Yeah, but I think
do
he would have done it better. I think he would have done it better if he had
I do like
free.
the Ted Raimi cameos in all three movies, though.
Yeah.
Especially the one in the third movie where he's trying to pitch the new slogan to the Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
It's like, it's hip, it's now, it's wow. Like, me and my friends always reference that, so.
Like you gotta love all the Ted Raimi cameos, like in all.
Ted Raimi's the man.
Yeah,
he really
dude.
is.
You gotta love that shit. But yeah, dude, Spider-Man 3 ruined it for me, man. So when they decided to reboot it a couple years later, I did not watch it. I was like, what? I'm just not
I
interested.
thought The Amazing Spider-Man at the time was a pretty good movie. It's, like, decent on a second watching, but those movies are very forgettable.
Yeah, and so now, like, I haven't seen either of them. So now it's to the point where it's like there's no reason to watch them because they're rebooting him again.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this reboot because Tom
Yeah.
Holland plays a really good Peter. It's the first time I think we talked about this on another podcast where he finally feels like a teenager to me.
Yeah.
So I hope this new Spider-Man movie is like John Hughes meets fucking the Avengers.
Yeah, and the new one does have me hopeful, seriously, because, like you said, it feels like he's gonna be a fucking teenager. Because, like, in the other ones, he's always right next to college, you know?
Yeah, I thought we were going the right direction when Andrew Garfield was in The Amazing Spider-Man because he was still in high school, but they always begin in high school. Like, I want to see him be... Like, I grew up reading the Ultimate Spider-Man comics where he is full-on teenage Peter. And it's like, it's good for the reader and some of the younger viewers because that was the point of Spider-Man, to feel like you could be him.
Yeah.
Like, he's just your normal schmuck from high school, who also is one of the smartest people in the world, but...
But yeah,
yeah.
so that's my, what did I say, number 2?
Yeah. My
And-
number 1, I had to put this on here because even though I watched it as a kid, I never really... Like, I always knew there was something up with it. Son of the Mask.
Oh, I almost put it on here. Almost. Oh,
This movie
God.
is fucking cancer.
Oh, it is.
Like, it's that bad. Like, they teased a Mask 2 for so long with Jim Carrey, but it never came through. We got Jamie Kennedy, and it's just... There's so many people I like in the movie, too. You have Alan Cummings,
Yeah.
Bob Hoskins,
Ben Stein comes back just to have his face ripped off.
Ben Stein, Cal Penn, like, so many, like, funny actors, and they're, like, wasted for Jamie Kennedy.
Fucking awful.
There's a formula to it!
That,
A simple formula! Everyone's a suspect!
yeah, that shit with the baby and the dog, like, that could have been really good.
It's so creepy.
Yeah.
Like, I know what the Mask is. It's taking...
Hanna-Barbera,
cartoony-
Tex Avery.
But the thing is...
Not
this
Chuck
doesn't
Jones, I
even
mean,
feel-
not
it doesn't even feel
Hanna-Barbera.
like the Mask.
Yeah, Chuck Jones, Tex Avery, dude, like, and they fuck it up.
Like, it doesn't even feel like it has the same tone as the original.
Then that dance number, dude, in the
Yeah, where they
original,
did Frankie Valli.
when you got the all the cool swing music and stuff, that shit was cool, and it didn't.
And that was again part of the times. The '90s did have sort of a swing.
Yeah,
thing.
that swing revival was at its big beginning stages at that moment, and that shit just worked in that movie, especially with the Tex Avery and Chuck Jones vibe. Like, that was the big style of music when those
And it also
cartoons
did
were
have
coming
sort of,
out.
like, it was lighthearted, but also the city, Edge City, did sort of have this sort of... I guess it was because of the whole gang thing. It did sort of have a twinge of darkness to it a little bit.
Yeah.
But this movie seems so upbeat at sometimes. Like, it seems so, like, out of place. It doesn't even feel like it's in, like, the right universe.
Seriously.
And it sucks because Alan Cummings really could have been a funny villain he just has so much talent, but oh my god, he was wasted. And there's just odd moments that will give kids nightmares.
Like, I knew this movie was gonna be bad, but I rented it anyway when it came out on fucking DVD. And the entire time I'm watching it, I'm like, why haven't I turned this off yet?
Yeah. I really wish, especially now that I found out about the comics and stuff like that, that if I could adapt, like we were talking about what comic book adaptations we'd want to see, like we want to see a Darkness movie, we want to see a Spawn movie again.
And Witchblade, and...
We need to get a Mask movie that follows the comic, the dark humor of the comics.
Yeah, because
like
Stanley Ipkiss... Yeah, he's not even the Mask for that long. Like, so many people put on that mask, and it ruins their
so
fucking lives.
For it. Like, there's that storyline with the little girl who wants to dress up like the Big Head Killer for Halloween, and it almost is like a Carrie situation. Like, nobody likes her. She's sad, and then she comes back at a Halloween party, like, as the Mask, and just fucking wastes them all.
Seriously.
And then who's that? There was that really big character who like wanted to fight, who wanted to get the mask, but then once he puts it on, it just falls off and doesn't work. Oh my god, that would make a sick movie though if they like revived the mask the way like it should have been. And
Yeah.
I'm not even saying the Jim Carrey movie was bad. The Jim Carrey movie is a classic for what it is.
Yeah,
It's a
I
really
love
good
it.
movie, but it's still not the comic.
Yeah, I love the shit out of the Jim Carrey mask. It just totally fucking works.
And I could still see Jim Carrey playing Stanley Ipkiss from the comics, even though he's a creepy serial killer and fucking Jim Carrey's a pacifist. But I don't know. I feel like Jim Carrey has more acting chops than people give him credit for. But I think he could have played a serious Stanley Ipkiss as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Son of the Mask, like, I never really liked it as a kid. It always sort of made me feel uncomfortable watching it. But then as I got older and knew how to, like, place my opinions on stuff better, I'm like, yeah, this movie's just fucking shit. And the sad thing is, Cartoon Network, like, played it constantly.
Did they really?
Yeah, like, I found it, that's mostly where I watched it. I have it on DVD now because it was a 2-pack with the original Mask. But I just got that 2-pack for the original Mask.
Yeah.
But yeah, I usually find it on TV like all the time, and I can't. It's so bad. Oh yeah, and Stephen Wright's in it too, which I'm like, why?
Yeah,
You're
like...
a funny guy, get out of here, run away.
And I fucking love Stephen Wright.
I'll annoy the hell out of my mom, just get in my Stephen Wright voice, like, some people are afraid of heights. I'm afraid of widths.
Yeah, and I remember when I used to sneak out of my mother's womb when I was a fetus and crawl back in without her knowing.
Oh my. Everywhere's walking distance if you have the time.
The earth is bipolar.
Yeah. I live really close to an airport that when I walk into the kitchen, the stewardess tells me to sit down. Oh my god. I could go on for like it's quick, like he's the master of like quick pun comedy or stuff like that.
Yeah, and like I love Mitch Hedfield who does something very similar to that, but the drab fucking I am so not into this.
Just the dullness of it.
Yeah, just the dullness of Stephen Wright's delivery just makes it that much more funny.
I'm trying to think of more of them because some of them are like so fucking clever.
I spilled spot remover on my dog and he disappeared.
Yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, Son of the Mask, it's like I can't, like everyone knows it's awful at this point. Like it's one of the most infamous sequels out there.
That is definitely true.
They brought back the Chick Chicky Boom reference when they did the sonogram scene, and it's just weird. Yeah, it would have been interesting though to see what a Mask 2 with Jim Carrey would have been like.
That is That is definitely true. Yeah, if it was like 1995.
Yeah. They could have done something good, or it could have sucked too, but it still wouldn't have been Son of the Mask Man.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been a little more Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
Yeah, I do appreciate sort of the monster movie title, like Son of the Mask, but I don't know. It's just, like I said, it doesn't even feel like the same movie.
That's definitely true.
Yeah. So what is your number one?
My number one, I had to put two of them on here from the same franchise. And they're probably the most recent things on my list. And I believe we spoke about them a little bit last time. But my number one is Paranormal Activity 4 and 5.
This is by 5. Do you mean the marked ones or the Ghost Dimension?
Okay, yeah, I do gotta be specific. Fucking the Ghost Dimension.
Yeah, the Ghost Dimension. Because I heard there was some stuff in the marked ones. Like, the marked ones I heard was a bad movie. I'd never seen it. But I heard there was, like, some neat stuff about it. Like, they talked to the ghost with a Simon machine.
There was... Marked Ones has some moments. Marked Ones, in many ways, is a step above 4. But at that point, after 4 pissed me off so much. I was like... just so not into it. And
but
then
marked ones also had like time travel, right?
Yeah, that fucked things up. If you remember in the first one, at the end of the movie, when you just have the video camera in the bedroom, you hear the lady screaming and he wakes up and runs down there and you don't see anything, you just know she killed the shit out of him and she walks in there into that fucking room and does whatever the fuck, at the end of the movie. Well,
yeah, depending on which ending you get.
Yeah.
There's like 3 different endings.
Yeah, the main ending, not the one where she cuts her throat. But,
my favorite ending was the one that's not on the DVD. It was like the original ending before it got like picked up as a film, where she comes in and she just rocks herself like a crazy person for a good like couple like days. And by the morning, like, you hear a friend of theirs come in and, like, find Mika's body. And again, you don't see any of it, so it creates a scarier thing. Because she's just sitting there at the edge of the bed rocking herself. And you just hear, like, the friend come in, find the body, and then run out. And then by that night, the police come in, and she, like, comes out of her fucking possessed state. And she's like, where's Mika? But she's still holding a knife. So the cop's like, she's got a weapon, and then they just fucking shoot her dead. And that was, like, that's the freakiest ending to me, because it seems the most real.
Yeah.
Because the both other endings have her staring at the camera.
Yeah.
And the main one had, like, the jump scare, which was earned. It was an earned jump scare, so I can't complain about it. But her, like, demon facing into the camera sort of, like, broke the... It broke the illusion at the very end.
Yeah, definitely. So
what happened with the time travel?
The
they
time travel, yeah, what happens is it goes, he winds up in the kitchen in the first movie, and she walks down there, and she sees him and starts screaming and kills him, basically saying that he is what she was screaming at in the first movie, at the very end, which to me ruined some shit because,
she's already possessed.
Yeah, couldn't she just, be fucking freaking out? Why do we need to see what fucking freaked her out?
Yeah, I thought the whole time when she starts screaming, whatever ending you like, I always thought she was screaming down there to trick Mika because she's already possessed. She wants to kill him now. That she was just doing that to get him downstairs.
Yeah. Seriously. And
even though she could have just easily killed him then, so I don't know. She could have easily killed him in the bedroom anyway, so I don't fucking know. But that was what I always thought, that she was just trying to get him downstairs.
Yeah, so that just fucked that up for me. But Paranormal Activity 4 and the Ghost Dimension are fucking awful. My main I have so many problems with part 4.
The parents are so dumb in that movie.
The parents are dumb. The kids are dumb.
If you want to see a great thing about Paranormal Activity 4, like Spoonie's vlog on it was spot on hilarious. If you get the version on YouTube that takes out the jump scares, because he hits us with the jump scare to show how obnoxious they really are. And I remember when I first saw it, I dropped my phone. I'm like, what the fuck, Spoonie? Why?
Oh my god.
Because it blasted my ears off. The only funny thing about the jump scare is they put Michael Jackson's face in there at some point.
But some of the biggest problems with this movie is the fact that, okay, they're filming all of this on their laptops. Alright, you and I work with video footage and computers.
Yeah, your phone would be, your laptop would be fucked. There's no way it could store that much data.
Yes. This
Your
fucking
computer
file,
would be so slow.
this podcast that we are recording right now is already at 2 hours and 26 minutes. This file by itself is going to be over 30 gigs of fucking space. And for them to be filming 24/7 for...
And the boyfriend character was filming her sleep, like...
Weird.
Like, oh no, Skype never turned off. I'm like, I know what you were really doing.
Yeah, you were jacking off, bro.
But for the record, the boyfriend character is probably the best character in the movie, just because he's the character we all imagine ourselves being. Like, let's put this stuff on YouTube, man.
Yeah, and they
He's
do
the only
nothing.
one that feels like a real person.
You know, the fucking ghost. The ghost really likes to play with the Kinect. He's fucking...
Yeah, there's a couple of effective things they tried to do. Like the scene where they're ripping off The Shining and the kid's rolling on his big wheel.
Yeah.
And like the fucking, the chair moves. And then he rolls to another spot and you don't see what happens, but you hear the chair move again, like off screen. I like when you hear stuff off screen because it's subtle, but there's so many dumb parts, like where the mom leaves the kid alone in the bathtub to get sucked under. It's like, that's just bad parenting. You never leave a kid that young alone.
Seriously.
Spoonie makes these points too. Like, he really drove this home. He's like, you never leave a kid that young next to a body of water that large.
Yeah. Seriously. And then, one of my biggest complaints about this movie isn't the plot of this movie for Katie, the possessed woman, to have this firstborn boy, and she kidnaps him when he's a fucking baby in part 2.
And then puts him up for adoption.
Yeah, what's the whole point in that?
And swaps him out with another boy.
So
Just
what is the point?
In a fucking twist.
What is the point? Because, oh, she's living across the street and everybody's like, oh, her son's weird. Her son's weird. Well, where did this kid that she has now come from? Who is this kid? Why does she have this kid to, basically lure in the kid that she already had? What the fuck? It makes...
Or, didn't they talk to the dad from Paranormal Activity 2 in that movie too? Or was it like the dad who put the kid up for adoption? Like, I don't fucking remember.
Neither do
the plot
I.
is so convoluted.
Neither do I, but that shit made no sense. And when Stas and I, that was like our new Halloween tradition after the Saw franchises had ended. And when we were watching Paranormal 4 in the theater, I'm going, that's the Hunter kid. That's the Hunter kid. Not the one that she has now, but he's the Hunter kid. Boom. Twist happens. Yep, called it. There it is. So now explain to me the whole reason she needed to do
you had the
this.
suspicion, you're like, that's the Hunter kid, but if that's true, bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. My sensors are indicating massive amounts of bullshit.
Yeah.
Fucking James Rolfe, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking, that shit just aggravated me so much, dude. So fucking much. And then the whole, hey, I'm gonna kill you by carbon monoxide in the garage, you know, now I'm just a ghost fucking with you now. Like, dude.
Yeah, and she carries the laptop everywhere she goes.
Seriously.
She's about to die of carbon monoxide.
Why are you carrying the
She needs
laptop?
to find a great place to put down the fucking camera.
Like, they already...
Also, jump scares up the ass, which the original movie may had like 1 or 2.
Yeah. The originals, at least the first 2, And 3, at least those had some atmosphere, you know?
3 had like the cheap jump scare where the chick jumps out of the closet with the mask
Yeah,
on. But
that was dumb.
at least 3 had like the cool thing where it's like it's in the 80s. We had some effective scares, like when Toby, we know who this ghost is by naming it Toby, the creepy kids. When Toby grabs that chick by the hair, I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit!
Yeah, that was good. But dude, 4 fucked it up, right? 4
Yeah.
fucked all that up in the garbage. Well, when they were getting ready to have the Ghost Dimension come out, they were all hyping it up.
But now
Everything.
we actually see what the ghost is. It's the Venom symbiote.
Yeah.
It's
Every-
stupid looking.
Everything is about to be explained. Every question that you had, explained. And guess what? Not a goddamn thing was explained. Not even the reason she needed to swap kids so she can get him back. None of that explained. And then just to have us see the ghost ruins the entire point of these movies.
And then there's the moment it gets under a giant sheet.
Yo,
And
God.
I'm like, I made a post about it on Facebook. I was just watching it, filming. I'm like, it's the ghost of Charlie Brown. And then like people are like, what's wrong with our daughter? Like she's saying Bloody Mary backwards in the mirror. It's like they reacted so blasé to it. It's like she's speaking perfect backwards, which you can't really do.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God.
Like, I'd automatically know, like, all right, this science is out the window. This is something supernatural. Like, even if you're skeptical, the moment your daughter is looking in the mirror, speaking perfect backwards, chant-like, saying Bloody Mary in the mirror, like, you're like, yep, they're a ghost now.
Yeah, and the fact that you see the ghost in this black goop, it ruins to me what was originally the appeal of these movies was, you know,
What you don't see.
yeah, and the looming threat that, you know, you never see ghosts in real life, you know, like this. You know, if you are dealing with, I'm a big fucking believer in like paranormal shit, and it just does not really work that way, man. You know, just the feeling of something being there that you can't see is scarier than seeing black goo crawling up the walls and shit.
And it, like, makes a sound. It's like, how does anyone know this thing isn't coming? Like, every time it comes by, it's like...
Yeah, dude. Like,
It just took it, like... We all knew it was fake from the beginning, but the first one still had a sense of realism that you could immerse yourself in.
Seriously, the
But
first
even
one...
when the third one started throwing it out the window, at least its scares were effective. Like, they did the sheet thing much better.
Yeah.
When they go into the kitchen and everything in the kitchen falls from the ceiling, like, that shit's awesome.
Yeah.
It just overstayed its welcome. They should have left it at 3. And also, when we were talking about the found footage craze, when we were talking about Blair Witch, it would have been better to do different storylines.
Yeah, it really
Like,
would have.
not have it all be connected, because to pull a Halloween 3, it's just... Like, Paranormal Activity, the world is wide. There are many different cases that people have claimed
Yes.
for paranormal. You could have done many other things other than just demons.
This same family dealing with this crap. Like, we didn't need any of that. We didn't need a big background story with the witches. We didn't need the coven. We didn't need none of that shit.
Or even if that's the case with the coven, because I do find covens kind of interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
What's it called? You could have done, like, it doesn't all have, every Paranormal Activity movie doesn't have to be, oh, I found a camera, let's start filming stuff at night. Like, there could have been one Paranormal Activity movie where, let's say, they're bullshit artists trying to film a ghost show that, you know, obviously half those shows are faked, but then they come across actually something real.
Yeah.
Like, you could have done something like that. Now they don't know how to handle it, or maybe one of them gets serious. It's like, how about we actually try to solve this?
Seriously.
Or have it like a documentary where it's like, you know, I visited this family and they claim to have seen ghosts, so we set up monitors around their house to see what goes on at night. And maybe have like a narration going on where it's like, the stuff going on here is a little freaky. We don't know how to explain it. We've contacted the police about it. They have nothing.
Like, Paranormal Activity had the potential to be a great anthology, like yearly anthology horror series.
But instead, it just...
They had to have it
went
all connect. They had to have it all connect. And that's ultimately what really just ruined it all. Like,
they all had to connect, and they had to promote the Xbox Connect.
yeah. And guess
they,
what? The Connect fucking failed.
Yeah. Because also, the Xbox, like, keeping it on that long, like, you know that shit's gonna overheat.
Yeah, it's gonna overheat. It's gonna blow. It's, you know...
It's a giant waste of it's a waste of electricity, too. Your electricity bill is gonna be fucked.
Yeah. And like you said a minute ago, she's carrying the laptop everywhere she goes. Okay, there are people that carry
everybody has a laptop in the film. Like,
yeah,
even
everyone. Even the baby. The baby has a laptop. The fucking floor has a laptop.
And how many times they have the cat jump in front of the camera for a quick jump scare.
Yeah. And so, alright.
And the parents won't fucking listen. They're always like, there's no ghosts. Why do you keep doing this? Like, they are the most annoying, inept parents.
Yeah, it's like, how about show them the footage of the ghosts playing with the Kinect? That might convince somebody.
I think she even tries, but they always are so stubborn and interrupt her, like, right on at the get-go. Where it's like, no, not this again. It's like, you really just want them to, like, you don't feel bad when they die, because it's like, she tried to warn you.
Because now that's the thing about Paranormal 5 I can actually give credit to, is the fact that they were watching the footage and being like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, the parents didn't even, they're just like, get the fuck out of here.
Like, in Paranormal 5, they were watching the footage and questioning it and wondering what was going on.
The kid is clearly like the Omen, but they're just like, no, he's scared. He saw his mother get wheeled off to the hospital. You'd be that way too. I'm like, I don't think I'd be talking to the wall in the middle of the night.
Seriously.
Because I saw my mother go off to the hospital.
Seriously. And
I'd be a little worried for my mother's health. Yeah, but I wouldn't all of a sudden create an imaginary friend, because in the end, I know she's going to be fine.
I think, really, the nicest thing about Paranormal Activity 5 is that fucking house they were living in. That living room was amazing.
But that's the thing. That's what took me out of it. It's because, you know, like, yeah, there are houses like this. I've been to a few houses like that, but
they're not owning this house.
Yeah, like, you know, this is a Hollywood movie now. One with the high-tech camera that could see ghosts.
Yeah.
And the whole reason Paranormal Activity worked is because it got you at that, like, level of realism that's like, it's your normal California house.
Yeah, you just bought a cheap camera to you know, try and record what's happening.
Yeah, but now it's like, we got the ultimate high-def ghost-finding camera in our brick mansion.
Uh-huh. And like, but yeah, I love that living room. The way that living room was laid out, where it's like in the center, and then on the second floor, you just have that railing system that just goes all the way around the living room. Like, I just loved the way that looked.
They had like a giant brick fireplace.
Yeah.
And also it was like on Christmas when they started doing this. So it was like, not only was it a kick-ass house, now you have like the fancy decorations all over the place. So it looks like Wayne Manor.
Yeah, oh man.
Yeah, the Paranormal Activity movies certainly overstayed their welcome, and it's funny because there's a reviewer on YouTube who does these quick reviews, Jeremy Johns, which you've probably seen his videos, because like whenever there's a movie review, like he's one of the first recommended. But when Paranormal Activity like 4 came out, it's like, you know, they're gonna keep this going, and we're eventually gonna get one in 3D. And I'm like, you're probably right. I hope that doesn't happen. And then the final one in 3D.
3D. Now see the
that's another
ghost.
thing that's overstayed its welcome.
Now see the ghost. Third dimension.
Yeah. So both with Saw and Paranormal Activity, the 3D movie is what ends it all.
Yeah, and you know what?
There's been talk of another Saw movie, but I doubt it's happening. I really doubt it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind another Saw, because I enjoyed the crap out of that whole franchise.
Even though the movies started to get bad, I still think, like, a lot of people came and watched it for the traps, I'm one of those, like, people will not believe me, but I'm like, I watched Saw for the characters.
Yeah, and
Like, to other people, me saying that is like saying I watch porn for the acting.
yeah, or I read Playboy for the articles.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I enjoyed the traps, I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the
The reason
setups
why the
and
first
payoffs.
one is like the best to me is because, one, there's not that many traps. It's just I found the mystery interesting, and also as the Saw 2 and 3 are concerned, the reason I like those is just because the dynamic with Amanda and Jigsaw is just an interesting duo,
Seriously.
and the way Tobin Bell and the actress who plays Amanda like get along, and like how they created this relationship for themselves, it's really a testament to method acting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not even saying the acting that Amanda does is even that great, because by the end of Saw 3, she does get obnoxious, but, you know, it's understandably obnoxious. But then by 4 and 5 and 6, and I've never really even watched much of 7. Like, I know Sean Patrick Flannery from the Boondock Saints is in it, so I should check it out, because I like him, but... And I know they bring back Carrie Elways.
Yeah. Old Carrie Elways.
But we all knew that Dr. Gordon was going to be working with Jigsaw, because, like, we always suspected, like, because there's no way Jigsaw can do all this shit by himself. We all knew he had disciples, and we all knew, like, Dr. Gordon had to be the surgeon who's, like, putting shit in people.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that big of a surprise, but it was good to see him back. So yeah, I stuck around just because they are interesting movies to see. Because once you're stuck in a franchise, even if the movies get bad, you're like, I gotta know how it ends. It's almost like, I almost considered like Saw my soap opera, if you will, where it's like, I know it's bad, but I gotta see how this continues. But
yeah.
But that was our top 7 worst sequels.
7.
What are some of your least favorite sequels?
Yeah, what are some of your worst sequels? I mean, these aren't even the worst sequels out there. You know, people will say Godfather 3, but these are the ones that pissed me off the most. And there's others that pissed me off. Home Alone 2, that sucks. And, there's just so many. But these are the ones that I always think about when it comes to bad sequels. And
well, before we go, what are some... Because there are also sequels that people consider, like, bad or unnecessary that I personally think are fine. So what are some underrated sequels that you could name that you actually like?
Well, I would say easily Dumb and Dumber 2. That's a bit underrated. I would say, Ghostbusters 2 gets a good bit of flack, but I enjoy it.
I was going to say that too. I really like Ghostbusters 2.
Like, I like the first one better, but the second
the first
one
is like a classic, but Ghostbusters 2 has some memorable moments and funny scenes.
And hell, like you said earlier, Secret of the Ooze, that's a bit underrated. It's fun.
Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah.
The 2 Frank Miller sequels that came out in 2014, we got 300 Rise of an Empire and Sin City: A Dame to Kill For.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that Sin City yet.
Like, the only thing that was bad about it was the timing that it took so long to make, and that's usually the criticism is the timing, but people, like, write that up. It's, like, I agree with Doug Walker. It's just as good as the original Sin City. So I feel like you should, yeah, the timing was bad, but it's like, that shouldn't write off the movie. And 300 Rise of an Empire, there are 2 Frank Miller movies, 300 and Sin City, where Eva Green just kills it. She does amazing. Like, without her, 300 Rise of an Empire really is just sort of a unnecessary sequel, but her character is so compelling that, like, you gotta love it.
Definitely.
Another underrated sequels. I actually really like Back to the Future Part 3 more than 2.
I like all 3 of them pretty damn equal, but yeah, Back to the Future 3 I really like, and I think both of those sequels are pretty underrated as well. People love them, but I hear a lot of people complain about 2, and I hear a lot of people complain about 3, but Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
like
never
them
really
all.
cared much for 2. Like, it was there, I would watch it from time to time, but really, I've seen, like, 3, probably the most.
Here's an underrated sequel that I love is Austin Powers and Goldmember.
Me too. I actually really like Goldmember. And, like, sure, it's not the best Austin Powers movie,
Like,
but, you know,
it's my
I
favorite
thought it was
one,
fun.
dude. It is my favorite one out of all 3, just because of how ridiculous it gets. Like there's a joke every 5 minutes, and to me, most of them land.
And Michael Caine is great in it.
Yeah, Michael Caine as Austin's dad, that's amazing. And we gotta speak English. Like, dude. And she shot on a turtle. Dude, fucking, and then all the cameos,
John Travolta as Goldmember at the end.
yeah, that was awesome, dude.
And Danny DeVito as Mini-Me.
Yeah, man, and then Tom Cruise as Austin Powers, and, like,
Wasn't it like Steven Spielberg directing or something?
yeah, dude, and
Quincy Jones doing the music.
ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Quincy Jones. Like, I loved the shit out of that.
They've been talking about a 4th Austin Powers movie for a while. It's probably never going to happen, but I've heard that Mike Myers is interested in bringing the character back.
That would be pretty cool.
I actually would want to see Seth Green pick up the mantle as the new Dr. Evil, because Seth Green could really pull that off. I think he'd be hilarious as the new villain.
Yeah, definitely.
That now he finally has his time to, like, shine.
Definitely. Because it was just so funny that he was never evil enough, and then now when he's evil, Dr. Evil is good now.
Yeah, and I don't know, I like Goldmember probably because it's the one it was probably the first Austin Powers movie I remember seeing. So, I don't know, it sort of resonates with me because it's the one I remember most. The first one is definitely the best, but Goldmember I didn't think was that bad. I think it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I love the hell out of it, and even their the Mini-Me and Dr. Evil song number to me was even a little funnier than the one in Austin Powers 2.
Yeah, Austin Powers 2, The Spy Who Shagged Me, I don't even remember that one that much.
Yeah, like, I like it. You know, I liked it a lot, but
I think Goldmember is a little more memorable.
yeah, Goldmember definitely much more memorable for me because even with Fat Bastard, I went on the Subway diet and my neck kind of looks like a vagina.
Kick-Ass 2, I think, was a little underrated. Like, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't even seen any of the Kick-Ass.
Like, if you want a good Jim Carrey performance, even though he distanced himself from the film because of a certain event that happened.
Yeah. I was actually kind of hyped for that, to see Jim Carrey be in a ultra-violent film.
He actually, like, he does really good, because he doesn't do his typical Jim Carrey performance. He shows how good of an actor he really is. To the point where, like, we walked out of the theater and, like, my aunt didn't even know, or, like, me and my aunt were watching it when I got it on Blu-ray. She didn't even know it was Jim Carrey.
Damn.
Like, he didn't come as close to being as cool as Nick Cage in the first Kick-Ass, but
yeah.
he was still pretty cool. And finally, one other question before we go. Is there a sequel you'd want to see to a movie that hasn't gotten a sequel? Whether it's like a sequel to a sequel or a prequel, like what would you want to see?
Oh man, one would definitely. I'm gonna have to go with the Spawn movie that Todd McFarlane has been talking about for 20 years now. And even if it's, I mean, it can't, at this point, it cannot be a sequel. At this point, it's gotta be a remake, but that's what I want, man. And like, even like, all right, for like an actual sequel, I really can't think because I really cannot think of an actual sequel that I want to see. But yeah, I'm gonna have to stick with the a Spawn at least sequel or remake, or at least a sequel series to the Spawn cartoon.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of sequels that I would want. It is a hard question. Sequels that I would want. Like I said, bringing another Jaws movie back just for the hell of it would be fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. We were talking about the rules of attraction before, and they were gonna do, since all of Bret Easton Ellis's books are connected, Roger Avery was gonna do the next book he did, another book starring Victor from Rules of Attraction called Glamorama, which I'm reading currently. It's a pretty good book, but Victor becomes a model, and he just lives a shallow New York lifestyle, but I don't know. Like, I think Roger Avery could tackle it pretty well. I don't know if Bret Easton Ellis, because apparently Roger Avery does have the rights to do a Glamorama movie, but he hasn't done it. I think he's planning to. I don't know necessarily where he's at. Last time I heard, he was in jail. But I don't know. It would be interesting to see. I honestly think Bret Easton Ellis books should be adapted into a Netflix miniseries. I think that, and closer to the books. Like, I would love to see an American Psycho miniseries starring, like, Michael Fassbender as Patrick Bateman. Like, that would be sick.
Yeah, that would be sick. Now, here's a question. Sequels that don't need to happen.
Sequels that don't need to happen, I would have said John Wick, but I really want to see that sequel.
Yeah.
I really want to see Chapter 2, because I've heard it's good. But it never really needed a sequel. But there are some movies out there that, like, some unnecessary sequels aren't bad either. Like Hotel Transylvania 2. I don't like Adam Sandler that much anymore, but Hotel Transylvania 2, the first one was great. The second one didn't need to exist, but it was good for what it is. And I think it more has to do with Genndy Tartakovsky, the guy who created Samurai Jack, directed those movies.
Yeah.
So that explains why the animation is so, like, fluent and, like, it's just really good. But sequels that don't need to be made. Well, it depends. Like, what popular movies came out recently that, like, would warrant even getting a sequel?
Alright, one movie that I can think of that does not need a sequel, and after I had seen it last year, I was like, this movie is perfect the way it is. There's no way this needs a sequel. And it was brought up about a month or so ago that a sequel is possibly in the works, and it's Don't Breathe.
I need to catch up on that. All my friends have been telling me that's such a good movie.
That movie was pretty damn awesome, and just, not to spoil anything at all, but it does not need a sequel at all. There's no way you can do a sequel to it without fucking it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else, like, what sequels don't need to be made, because usually nowadays, sequels that come out are, like, unnecessary. Like, I can't see them coming. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if something so forgettable, like this movie Fist Fight that just came out, would get a sequel, just because stupid comedies get sequels out of nowhere. It's like, who greenlit this, or who remember, like, Hot Tub Time Machine 2? I'm like, I heard the first one was pretty good, but it's like, who even remembers it?
Yeah.
So yeah, any shitty comedy that recently came out, or stereotypical comedy, does not need a sequel.
True that.
But this has been Fresh from the Basement. You can find me at my YouTube channel, the FDV Production, all lowercase, no spaces. But you can find these podcasts at his channel, Bloody Chuckle Studios.
Yeah. And you can find our music on SoundCloud.com under Bloody Chuckle Studios as well.
And you could also catch this podcast
Oh, yeah.
on rtgomer.com.
Yeah, rtgomer.com and other reviewers.
Horrorphilia.
And, yeah, horrorphilia.com with Skeleton Crew, Mysterious Boom, and just a lot of great talent on horrorphilia.com, rtgomer.com, and all that.
So yeah, tune in next time, Basement Dwellers. We're probably gonna have another list. It's fun to do. It honestly is. I honestly don't care if the next one's a list again, because you're right. It creates good conversation, a good dialogue, and it shows our different points of views and opinions and tastes.
Definitely.
But yeah,
we will see you
this has been
guys.
Fresh from the Basement, children.
We will see you guys later.